All right, welcome in. It is Monday morning. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Whew. All right, so here's what you need to know. The show starts at 6.
Yeah, that as who's done more 6 a.m. shows than you in this station? That has never happened at any point.
Well, guess what? It's a new era.
Would have been good to know.
I just thought that
Hey,
I
it's
don't
the
know.
first day.
We don't have to get into it, but 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
I just thought it meant 6 o'clock.
I just assumed there was a reason it had never started at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that I don't know.
You know
that I don't know. So welcome to the morning here on 1620 The Zone. We're both a little bit out of breath because we cut it tight there, admittedly. But here we are. I'm Connor Happer. This is Mike Schaefer. Our producer is Joey Colbert.
Hello.
This seems like the ideal way for us to start after everything else that has occurred to get here.
You know, we've been things have moved fast over the last couple days here, and we have we'll get Schaefer in the stream shortly. We have tried to put this thing together as fast as we possibly can. There's been a lot going on, a lot of work from Joey, a lot of work from Josh Odson behind the scenes, a lot of work from the both of us. Schaefer putting the show kind of together a little bit today. I mean, we got guests we'll tell you about here in just a second.
We do have guests. That's true.
That's a little bit later on. You got coffee, by the way?
No, I have water in the car. I figured it made more sense to get here first, and then we'll worry about the stuff that's
water
still in the car.
And what have we got? Like
we got like a fruit bar, in case I get hungry at some point over these 4 hours.
Yeah, I considered that briefly last night, and then I didn't get the banana that I thought I was going to get when I left this morning. Left my house this morning, and then so there is admittedly going to be some things that just happen during the show. Is like, oh yeah, we kind of forgot about that small little detail.
It starts at 6.
Like it starts at 6. Yeah, that's a
not 6:10.
That's a big one.
I probably should have clarified that things were going to change in that regard. That's my bad. I apologize.
So that's number one. Number two, I'm sure will happen within the next 15 to 20 minutes at the very least. I have no idea what that's going to be, but there will be details that we'll have to clean up. This is the new morning show here on 1620 The Zone. And we are happy that you are with us. I suppose that people are looking at us today to say, what the hell? What is going on?
We echo that sentiment.
Yeah. First of all, I cannot wait to work with Mike Schaefer and Joey Colbert. This is, Schaefer and I did a show famously or not famously together in Lincoln several years ago. And it was so much fun. It lasted 8 months. And then I came here.
It did not last 8 months. It might have felt like
it lasted 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it was basically August.
It started in the 8th month of the year. And then it lasted 4 months. And it was a lot of fun. We were stupid, and we will be stupid here, and we'll have fun. It'll be early in the morning. It'll be different. I know people are used to hearing my voice at 10. You'll hear a different voice at 10. You'll hear young Matt at 10 o'clock today, who will, I'm sure, be enjoying his mornings a little bit more, just as far as his sleep schedule is.
Part of why not having to arrive exactly at 6 a.m. was, working with young Matt.
Right. But we understand how big and how significant and how sort of jarring this changeover is, and we do not take that lightly. So we don't, I've been through a lot of new shows in my time. Schaefer has made fun of me quite a lot for changing co-hosts and doing different things and whatever it might be. I've done a lot of different shows, and it's always an adjustment at the start, whether it's for the listeners, whether it's for the hosts of the show, getting used to a different time slot, everybody else getting used to that thing. But what we're going to do on this show is we are going to be consistent, and we are, we're going to be consistently dumb. I think that's probably going to be a big part of this.
It comes with the territory.
And we're going to and we're going to do this thing together, right? We're going to work as a team on this. I love this. Part of the reason why I spent my entire day not working on the show yesterday was that I'm lucky enough to be a part of a couple, several of the local basketball programs.
Did you trying to decide how many
here.
number, like what the number is that,
So I was gone all day yesterday, and at some point you think, why do you do this, right? Why do you put yourself through these things? You're gone all day on a Sunday. You got a lot of stuff to do for your normal everyday job. Why do you do these extra things? And I do it because I love being part of a team. I love playing my role and hopefully making everybody better in the process, and hopefully the product is a good thing after that. And that's what we're going to do on this show. Not to be weird and sentimental and, all of those things, but that is what we are going to do on this show, just to set the tone. And then we're going to catch our breath, and then we're going to drink coffee, and then we're going to have a good morning together.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about all of this. I mean, a little bit of behind the scenes. We have sort of attempted to bring Happer and Schaefer back multiple times in the 5 years between these two shows. We went off the air on the last day of December in 2021. And we are returning here in 2026. I joke that it's a sequel that nobody really asked for. But Connor and I had done a lot of radio previously. Really haven't had a chance to actually work together in that 5 years. Famously, you haven't had a co-host, in that time.
I've had the excellent Josh Hodson, but yes.
Well, yes, I with apologies to Josh, but you haven't had quite the same thing as a co-host. But in that time, I mean, we've done the crossovers. We've certainly had conversations. I've had you on every iteration of a podcast I've had in that point in time. So I'm excited to kind of jump back into this, find the old chemistry, see if we're like the sort of teammates that go to different teams for a while, then end up on the same team. See how that works again. Also pointing out, I was the last co-host that you had. So now
that's true.
You who, has been dubbed by some people, me, as a co-host killer, like it doesn't always have to end badly. It can come back again,
We'll see.
Well, yeah,
Get
that's
ready.
true.
Get
that
ready.
Is true.
So this is called Happer and Schaefer. You can find us on our new Twitter handle. If you were following the previous show before, you still follow us now at Hap and Schaefer. Okay. So as I was switching this over last night, Schaefer, I thought of you because I want to say you already stole the handle at Happer and Schaefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like
believe it still exists.
Happer and Schaefer 1620 is too long.
Yeah,
and I couldn't come up with anything else, so we went with Hap and Schaefer.
Well, I'll see if I can unlock the old Happer and Schaefer and see if we can bring that back.
Maybe just delete it, and then I could call this Happer and Schaefer.
There we go.
But as we know as well, and so we'll get to all this, how you can contact us and all those things in a second. But like I said, this is quite the significant changeover, and people are asking, where is Gary? Where is where's Matt? Where's Jimmy? So Matt will be doing the midday show here on 1620 The Zone with Josh Hodson. So he's taking my old spot coming up this afternoon, which means Gary and Jimmy are no longer with us here at 1620 The Zone, which is really, really difficult. I think, for I was a listener of the morning show myself, and it's been that way for, Gary's been in that seat, mostly for a long, long time now. And so that is going to be quite a significant changeover, I think, for all you guys. And it is not, I don't think, an ideal situation, but I think, I can't wait to make the best out of what our deal is now and what it's going to be going forward. And I can't wait to see what 1620 The Zone is going to look like, when you turn the calendar over to next year, or when you look at it in a couple months or something like that. But there's no doubt. I mean, that I know people are like, hey, come on, what's going on? Where is he? And that's what the situation is. It's a hard business in radio. And, it all happened so fast that we get, we just kind of get like assigned these jobs. It's like, all right, go. And you don't get a real chance to look back and think about all that stuff too. So that is the situation here at 1620 The Zone.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that there's probably a 0% chance I'm even sitting in this spot if it hadn't been for Gary. He was started here, I want to say, in 2012 with Jason Peter. Very few people remember that for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, I remember.
It was, I mean, as a guest, as someone that was accosted for being a recruiting writer, I certainly remember Jason Peter's brief time here. But, so my relationship with the morning show goes back to kind of its inception there. And I, have very much appreciated having Gary as a friend, working with him as a fill-in co-host, Jimmy as well as a producer. And so, I appreciate, I know that I would not be here if it wasn't for those guys. So very much appreciate everything that they have done. And, looking forward to kind of what we are about to do with new era of the morning show here on 1620.
Yep. Hard to change. I think for everybody else, hard to change a couple different shows. That's what's happening. I also, I was thinking about this a little bit last night. Brain wanders to a bunch of different places. Shout out to Unsportsmanlike Conduct. That show has just been on the air for obviously so long now. John and Josh, and specifically John and Josh, who have been doing it together for more than a decade now at this point.
11 years for them?
Consistency is what we're going for on this show. And unfortunately, you can't replicate consistency. Unfortunately, you can't skip ahead and get it. You just have to do it every single day. And it starts with day one. And so those guys, the model of that in the afternoon. And we're going to try and replicate a lot of the things that a lot of the stupidity that they end up doing on their show. I know that show gets, there's a lot of message board threads about all that's going on this weekend. That show gets so much crap, and you guys are wrong for it. I'm telling you, that is a great radio show.
They're still here.
That is my favorite radio show. There's a reason why nobody is more prepared than those guys. Nobody has more fun, and nobody they have excellent chemistry. They know how to do a radio show together, and they care. That is what matters. So shout out to I just thought about this last night. He's like, am I going to go on a rant about this today? Possibly, but there's my little rant. So shout out to John and Josh.
That's barely even a rant
on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. It's not a rant. We'll have, maybe that's a new segment. PNB, Schaefer, potential new rant. Is this a rant?
Yeah. You just talk, and then when you're done,
maybe we determine
whether it's a rant or
Joey,
not.
Maybe we have a rant horn. Every time it seems like I'm maybe going on a rant, you honk the rant horn, and then
we can rank it. We scale it, 1 to 10.
Yeah. All right, there you go. First new bit is here. All right. So this is Happer and Schaefer here at 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Let's get to our lineup today, powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska is going to be our first guest on the show ever today. Ever.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense given that, the portal is just insane at the moment. Nebraska's retaining players. Nebraska's bringing in former players that went elsewhere that have come back. Welcome back, Daniel Kalen.
Welcome back, Willis McGahee.
Well, yes.
Even though he was just in the portal, but
right.
And so go anywhere.
There's a lot going on there. Plus, Tim was just down in San Antonio, where Danny Odom, where Claude and Puma, two Nebraska signees, the top two players that they had in the 2026 class down there competing in the Navy All-American Bowl. And then Ahmad Hudson. People want to know about Ahmad Hudson.
I do.
And Tim was down there. Tim was around him. There's some other guys at 2027 recruits that Nebraska's after. They were in San Antonio. And then, they got new coaches. There's just a lot going on. Felt like a good spot.
Well, you can't take the recruiting out of the man. You could take Schaefer out of the business of recruiting, but you can't take the recruiting out.
Hey,
He says, "I want Tim on because I want to talk about recruiting today." That's
I want to talk
about.
I want to talk with someone who knows recruiting.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Okay,
I don't have to follow it anymore. It's great.
We have to talk about recruiting. So Tim will join us at 8:30, and Michael Bruns from Husker 247 will join us coming up at 9:15 today.
I just wanted to say hello to him.
Me too.
No other questions.
Me too. And we'll chide him about the upcoming impending battle for the Denver Broncos this weekend against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the sad thing for you is you missed 2 outstanding football games while this was all going on.
Dude,
you probably didn't even realize the NFL playoffs were happening given your weekend.
I would know. I was so sad to not be watching the NFL playoffs. Man. Because here's what I did this weekend. I watched 3 teams that I worked for, Creighton men's basketball, Creighton women's basketball, Nebraska women's basketball. They got beat by a combined 80 points this weekend.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had the total on that.
80 points. It wasn't good. I didn't like it. I watched the game, the first game on Saturday with Creighton and St. John's. I'm like, whoa, that was bad. And then I thought, oh, wait, tomorrow is going to be some tricky stuff too. Number 1, UConn, and number 4, UCLA were both in town yesterday. But I thought about this too. I also, the trade-off was my team's losing by 80 points. I got to see Rick Pitino and Gino Auriemma operate the same spot at CHI Health Center for 2 consecutive days. So that was pretty good. And so that is our lineup with Bruns, powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you all today? 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could call or text that number. Tweet at Happer and Schaefer. At Connor Happer, long pause, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Twitter feed. Email Connor at 1620. Okay, we're going to have to get this straight too. Connor at 1620thezone.com. Jay Colbert at nrgmedia.com. Mike Schaefer is going to have a 1620 The Zone email very soon.
Yeah, I have one.
You're going to have one.
We'll see.
And so then I'll be able to say Schaefer at 1620thezone.com, because I doubt you'll be able to get Mike at 1620 The Zone. Well, you'll probably be able to get Mike at 1620thezone.com, I guess. Unless that was, Stibbs was probably Stibbs at 1620 The Zone.
I think it was Stibbs.
Man.
You actually might be able to get Mike.
I wish it was Mike, because then
you got probably Miguel.
They could be like sending in thinking Stibbs is still here, and I could get those emails that were directed towards Stibbs.
That's up to you. I think that's your call on your handle. You could be Mike or at
Schaefer. Stibbs at 1620 The Zone is available.
You could just use Stibbs at 1620thezone.com. That would be funny. And so there you go. Those are the ways to get in contact with the show. We also say good morning to our YouTube streamers today. Yeah. Okay. So here's the other thing. Joey, Josh Adson, myself, a lot of people behind the scenes are trying to, we're trying to get the whole stream situation right. It's going to be a work in progress. Right now, we're very bare bones. In fact, Schaefer will be in there momentarily, but we're very bare bones. Stick with us. This all happened very fast.
This is just we're living in a house that is under construction.
Yeah, build the plane while you fly it, right? Is that what they say?
Yeah, I guess.
Just think of it as the Omaha road construction. There's a lot of potholes to fill.
God, Joey.
We want people to listen, Joey. Not with rage.
I had rage this weekend because I went downtown twice, 2 consecutive days.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh, wow, this will be easy. Like, I'll leave at 10 o'clock for a 1 o'clock game. And, it's not that I was in any danger of being late to the game or anything like that. But, people obviously don't look for the warning signs. They don't use the things that are given to them as far as resources and warnings that like Creighton is throwing out there and stuff like that. So they go all the way down 480, and then you can't go any further at a certain point. So everybody's got to get off at the last exit. What I think it's Dodge, Harney, Dodge, whatever it might be. And so everybody's just piled up and they're all mad at each other. And so you have to find alternative routes. But even when you go around it, even when you take extra precaution to not run into all of that stuff and be the last person on the end there, then you're still going to have to run into other stuff because other areas of downtown are under construction. So it's a disaster getting both in and out. People, I'm sure, had a great time with that this weekend at CHA Health Center. Lincoln downtown is way better right now. It's amazing. I thought I would never say this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I.
It just is. Omaha downtown. I don't even know what it is. It's just a big hole.
That's just because where you're going, you're just popping into like one small little section. You're not having to drive across the expanse of Lincoln where they started every road construction at the same exact time.
That's true.
But
apparently they just did that downtown in Omaha, which is pretty absurd. And an interesting choice, of course, by them. So, like you said, we will build this plane as it is sort of in the air. So I have a couple stories from this weekend before we get to a call here and we get on with life and get on with sports talk. So last time you and I did a show together, Schaefer, the last show that I had, it was an emotional day for me because I had worked at the place for a decade and there was it was ending and all those different things. And so the last show, people kind of called in and they said thank you and they said all these nice things and it was really nice and it was all really emotional. But one specific caller called in and spilled the beans at the time about where I was going next, which was not public information. Yeah, I don't know why we do things this way in radio. I don't know why we're, secretive or anything like that. It really probably didn't need to be. But I hadn't said it out loud publicly yet that I was moving to 1620 The Zone. And so a former coworker of mine called into the show to say thanks. And he said, you're going to do great and all these different things. And he said, you're going to do awesome at 1620 The Zone. And I go, oh, I don't think anybody knew that yet. Remember this? Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
This happened.
That's not what I remember the most from that day, but vaguely.
What else happened that day?
Well, you announced at the same time, Tom announced at the same time, and I announced at the same time.
That's right.
We weren't going to be returning in 2022 at the ticket. Nobody really believed it because there was no plan as to how this was going to be rolled out. And we did it in the last 3 minutes of the show. So it sort of just kind of happened. And the reactions to all of it was like, wait,
what's happening?
Connor's leaving?
Yeah.
Wait.
I assume that's how people
leaving?
are feeling right now and on Friday on my show.
Okay, well, Connor lives in Omaha. And maybe Tom's retiring, but Schaefer's leaving? Yeah. And it was, we didn't exactly have it like planned out. And the response to it was like, is this sort of like a joke?
It's not a joke.
And then it was, then it became, oh, wait, that was your last episode?
So on the piece where the beans got spilled, here's where this weekend comes into play. So doing the Creighton game on Saturday, like I said, I don't know why we do it this way, but nobody had really said out loud yet, although people could figure it out, just like they did the previous time, that I was going to go do the morning show. And I had told people and it's not like it wasn't public information, but nobody had said it out loud yet. It was not out there in the world. And so I am up in my perch preparing to host Jay's Live as I regularly do. And intrepid public address announcer Jake Ryan, he usually has a fun quip when he sends it up to me. And he says, here's the ever exciting and excitable, whatever it is, whatever he does. And Saturday, he said, here's the new morning host on 1620 The Zone, Connor Happer. I was like, nice. All right. That's the way to do it. So that was good, I thought. And then another decent story about just how we're getting things off the ground here. We sent some stuff. We sent some words to our voiceover guy. And he, sent us, just for imaging and stuff. So you're going to hear at least a little bit of imaging throughout the show today, stuff where the big voice guy says, Happer and Schaefer, right? When we got the audio back, he called me Colin Happer.
Has it ever happened?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like a common one for you.
Yes. He called me Colin Happer. And there was another name that he missed, which you'll find out about later in the day.
Colin Hamper.
Colin, luckily he got the Happer part
Yeah,
right.
good
Like,
thing,
I don't
good
know.
thing you got that.
But now we have audio of our big voice guy saying Colin Happer. We could even play it on the show. So here we are, everybody. Should we take a phone call?
Yeah, let's take a phone call.
Is this what we're all about here? We have to decide if we're a phone call show. I love radio phone calls.
Look, I'm in.
All right.
Bring the people in. Let the people be heard.
On the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline right now, our first caller in Happer and Schaefer history, it's Old Man Doug. Hi, Doug.
Good morning.
What's up?
I want to welcome Schaefer and to 1620 permanently. So got to talk with Schaefer for about an hour before the Iowa game.
Whoa. Is that right, Schaefer? You talked with Old Man Doug for an hour?
I don't know if it was a full hour, but it was before the Iowa-Nebraska game, and it was definitely the highlight of that whole 5 hours. So, yeah, we were at the embassy, and just multiple people had told me that was Old Man Doug. I didn't know it was Old Man Doug because I'd never met Old Man Doug before, but multiple people informed me that was Old Man Doug, including someone that was like, hey, that was the coach of the team that always beat us up in middle school basketball. And he didn't say it with a whole lot of reverence. And so I was like, all right, I got to meet this guy. And so he actually found me first. But yeah, Doug and I had quite the long conversation.
Okay.
So some questions that I have. One of Schaefer is I would like to at some point hear, you're probably still recruiting analysts, but which one you got the most wrong and which one you got the most right?
Oh, wow.
Okay. In terms
And maybe you don't
Nebraska, I guess, over the last, how far back am I going? Like all the way to the beginning?
How about just 5 years?
Okay.
You don't have to answer yet. Think about it.
I will think about this.
Think about it. Okay, Doug.
And then the other question I have is, do we have an email address for Schaefer? Because my future of my bank depends on Schaefer's success.
That's true. We need to get in the Equitable Bank inbox. We do not have that set up at this exact moment.
We will get that done this week.
There will be the wheels are already in motion on that, I'm sure, Doug.
Okay, and then Happer, this might be more for you.
Okay.
But where does I have an opinion go?
So I don't know. I've debated, do I need to start all new bits? Do I have more bits to come up with? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question yet. We're gonna figure that out. Maybe one day this week we can play with Matt when we do our crossover in several hours. We can play divorce court, who gets what drops, who gets what bits. Are they Happer Show IP or are they Happer IP?
What would be his claim to your bits though?
I don't, just the fact that they happened in his now.
The phrase "claim to your bits" is a great turn of phrase right there. Great
Doug,
wording from me.
I don't have a great answer for you. I would like to keep doing I have an opinion because I know people have opinions.
And then Schaefer, I'm going to put you on the spot. 2 questions, and I'll hang up and you can answer them when I get off the phone. But number 1, who looks older, me or Sipple? And then secondly, I need your position on Creighton.
Big day. Big day. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Well, we'll start with the easy question. My position on Creighton is that they have not beaten Nebraska in their last 2 attempts here. There's a changing of the guard in the state. The basketball school is in Lincoln, and they play football as well, but we don't have to talk about the football. The basketball school is in Lincoln. Another huge win for Nebraska over the weekend.
They are really
erased a 16-point deficit. I keep saying this, and they keep proving it, but every time they go out and play, the people that are searching for reasons to not believe in this Nebraska team.
Oh, we're gonna have fraud talk.
I won't give
we're gonna have fraud talk.
The whole barrel. I'm just saying the people that are searching, they're having to scrape. They're really having to work hard because they're finding different ways to get this done each and every time out. And it is an incredible ride for those of us that have spent too much time on really bad rides.
So your position on Creighton is Nebraska ball. That is your position?
My position on Creighton is we can talk about the team that's winning
when they're winning.
Which
is right now. Which is right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah.
I think Doug was more looking for like a more 40,000 foot view. What is your position on Creighton? And your answer may well still be Nebraska ball.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to spend time on that when we could spend time on this. And then
the other one is what? Oh yeah, who looks older, Sipple or Old Man Doug? It's Sipple.
Yeah,
Old Man Doug looks like
with all the respect in the world
gentleman.
to Sipple. I mean, if people were playing the guess his age game, the range would be much higher than I think the actual age of which he comes in.
Sipple's lived harder.
Yeah. Well, and then if you were only going off of a photo and then you put it up next to the radio voice, the gravelly, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
That's not going to help either.
And
But he's young at heart. That's what matters.
I had only heard Old Man Doug's voice before I met Old Man Doug, and those two did not match up.
Yeah.
So that's what everybody. I think Doug is just fishing for compliments and people to say, "Hey, look, you actually look quite a bit younger than you sound on the radio when you call in and have."
When you meet Old Man Doug, you're expecting an old man.
Exactly.
And then you just get
Doug. Don't get it. Yeah, and then you just get a guy named Doug and a quarter sip.
Exactly. That's what he was wearing.
All right, here we go. That segment is out of the way, and now we're talking about sports, ladies and gentlemen, and other stuff. Thanks for being with us. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Yes, you are. Welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you here on 1620 The Zone. We remind you that you can win a pair of tickets to see Chris Stapleton at the All-American Roadshow Tour featuring Nikki Lane October 7th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. And all you have to do is enter online right now, 1620thezone.com to see Chris Stapleton. Also, we will remind you that we will have Creighton basketball tickets to give away today on the show. Schaefer's like, what? Nebraska ball. But we will still give away Creighton basketball tickets. They play Georgetown tomorrow night at 8, so stay tuned for that. Schaefer wants to talk about the NFL this weekend, but I would agree with you, Mike. The top story here is the basketball team. So let's do that.
All right.
An undefeated non-fraud with a chance to start 20-0. And I figured with all the fraud talk, Schaefer, you would probably have an opinion or two.
I have an opinion
on all of the conversation that is going on right now. So I'll give you the stage. Like, I'll give you the floor. What do you think about all these people who are talking about Nebraska ball in very derogatory way? But
it's not like,
so I'll defend him.
Here's the problem with it. I'm going to jump in and then see if this sort of cuts off what you were about to say. But some of it is like, we need some kind of parameter for what the fraud represents here. Or like when someone said fraud, but then also said,
that was Jeff Goodman.
I don't know if they're an Elite 8 team. It's like, well, at no point in my life have they ever been an Elite 8 team. So tell me something I didn't already know.
I think people like that, they look at the sport so like just the top teams, and they don't really have time or the chance or the want to think about anything else. And so when they say fraud, they're just basically saying, hey, look, I don't think they're a real contender to like win the national championship. I don't think they're a real contender to like make the Final Four or be a competitive team in the Final Four or something like that. And it's so funny because you have that part of the conversation existing. And this is all pre-Indiana, by the way. And then the other side is like people here in the state who they're like, oh, if that's the conversation, then great. I just want to win a tournament game.
Yeah.
I just want to win one tournament game. And then like, if we're lucky, we can maybe win 2 tournament games. That'd be really awesome. I would really enjoy that weekend,
The thing that is sort of hilarious about it, though, is if like Nebraska had lost one of these games here recently, like just one of them, and they had the 1 loss instead of a 0 loss, the conversation would sound so much different. It'd be like the surprise team in the country is Nebraska basketball. They're 15-1. The way they're doing it is through great defense, timely shooting, an old roster, and role players who know what they're doing. And instead, it's like, oh, I just don't know if I believe what's happening here. And it's like, the one difference of the 0 losses has created all of this. The thing that I don't understand,
right?
And I've never seen anyone actually or heard anyone say this when they're comparing. They're like, it's great because you get the graphic of here's the undefeated teams. And prior to Saturday afternoon, like it includes Michigan. And so it's Arizona, Michigan. And then you have Nebraska, you have Vanderbilt, you have Miami of Ohio, you have Iowa State, who I always forget out of that.
They're
so good. You have those. And then it's like, well, which of these teams is going to lose first? Oh, here we go. But the thing that no one has brought up, if you took this Nebraska ball team and you gave them Vanderbilt's schedule, are they not still easily undefeated at this point based on everything that you have watched? Because everyone talks about Nebraska, and then I literally heard someone say, I don't know that they have that many quality wins. They're 5-0 in quad ones.
Yeah, no, that is stupid. My God. By the way, I didn't know what Vanderbilt had done yet this year. The answer is just on looking at it for like 0.2 seconds is unequivocally yes.
Yes.
And they would have beaten everybody on this schedule.
Instead,
they haven't played anybody
You
yet.
get this weird, like, sort of, I mean, Nebraska's got a couple wins here, but then it's like a couple.
They played Alabama, like they beat Alabama.
That's their one win.
Yeah, they beat
But
Alabama.
they never come up in that discussion. It's just sort of assumed Vanderbilt is this great basketball program because they've been to the tournament a few times. Some of it is the weirdness of, Nebraska basketball being one of the last undefeated teams in the country at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
It's hard for people to wrap their head around that because you didn't see it coming. Even me, who was way more optimistic than most people probably were coming into this year. And I thought they would be a tournament team. My bold prediction about the season is that they were going to be a better team than the one that went to the tournament 2 years ago.
Well,
I never saw
Yeah.
this coming. Not in a million years did I see this coming.
And here's the thing now, and the conversation has changed, I think, even from this week to last. Going on the road and beating Ohio State and Indiana, I mean, every single time they play now, and they're going to play, is it Tuesday this week? Or
Tuesday, they play Tuesday against Oregon, and
Tuesday,
then Saturday they're at Northwestern.
And so they'll be playing, Oregon, Northwestern, Washington, Minnesota, not exactly the cream of the crop in the Big Ten, but people are watching them now. And so every time they play, more and more people will sort of tune in and they'll say, I got to see this. Like,
Yeah.
I got to see what's going on here. And what they did, beating Michigan State on that Friday night in Lincoln with that great crowd, and then going out on the road and doing what they did last week, more and more people watched every time. And all you got to do is watch them. All you got to do is watch them. And your takeaway will be, oh yeah, I mean, this is real. They might not be the most athletic team in the world. But you're not graded specifically on athleticism. Your upward mobility, your potential, your ceiling probably is dictated to a certain extent by your athleticism. But if you watch them play against anybody for really any amount of time, you could tell how connected they are. And that is the big word from this team. So people will continue to watch them game by game by game, and they'll say, oh, wow, I'm impressed. And so I say all that to say, this is not going anywhere. This is, and it's basically confirmed at this point. They are 16-0 in the season. They are 5-0 in the Big Ten. Their next four, like we said, are against some lower level Big Ten teams. That will be through 9 Big Ten games. And they've already had such great wins: Illinois on the road, Michigan State at home, Ohio State on the road, Indiana at home, Oklahoma at a neutral site, right? Kansas State at a neutral site, Creighton, Wisconsin. Like, all of these, they've beaten all those teams. Their resume already is looking like, if the season ended today and everybody else continued on, Nebraska ball would still be on the bubble at the end of the year. So they've already checked off these boxes, and it's going to be hard to move them off from a metric standpoint. They're not going anywhere. They're just going to keep showing up. And by the way, the metrics are indeed catching up with Nebraska basketball. For those of you who are looking at it and saying, oh, well, look at their metrics, it's not that good. 15th in adjusted defense on KenPom, 31st in adjusted offense on KenPom, obviously, significantly enhanced by an incredible second half against Indiana. But this is checking all the boxes right now. I don't even get what the hole is,
Well, and then the cool thing, I guess, if you're looking for different parts in this season to sort of be like, well, can they do this? Can they do this? We saw that they've made comebacks before. They did it against Oklahoma in the game, and
they're so steady.
Sioux Falls that nobody really remembers because there's been so many great moments since then.
I remember they scored 1 million points.
Right.
Yeah.
They had a comeback against North Dakota, which nobody wants to remember because for some reason every team in the state struggled with North Dakota this year. All 3 of Creighton, Nebraska, and UNO played North Dakota. All of them had their issues with North Dakota as well. And then you had Nebraska had to come back a little bit against Ohio State. It was more that they sort of let it slip away. They had to sort of come back a little bit against Illinois, more that they let it slip away. But then really, Indiana was a game where it's like, okay, they're dead in the water. This team, how are they going to do this? Look how well Indiana's playing. And it was just as simple as the team that shot nearly 60% in the first half was not going to keep that up in the second half. And the one thing about this Nebraska team, regardless of how you feel about their athleticism or whatever else, they are playing defense really, really, really well.
Yeah.
And Rink Mast, who is not like a traditional rim protector, there's something about the way he plays. I mean, he gave Edey such problems 2 years ago.
Well, and they do the thing where they're just going to blitz you and double and all that stuff.
Usually, if you're a good passing team, you can get through that.
So here's the difference this year. the skip passes, I think teams have been less willing to do that. You saw Indiana take advantage of it. They did a really good job and made shots with it in the first half on Saturday. But their closeouts and their anticipation is so good.
Well, they're almost baiting people.
Right. So, and then you have, I think that the difference in the guys chasing people around, you have Sanford, who is, long and athletic in that sort of chase spot right there. Like I think they call it the rover, right? He just chases everybody down on the closeout, and he's there, and he's so long he gets there sooner. In the past, you've had different types of players in terms of their athleticism be in that spot, and it's just ever so slightly making enough of a difference, I think. So you can actually, you're still going to always be at the mercy of, if a team makes 17 threes on you, then you just got to tip your hat and that'll happen, right? That's going to happen at some point to Nebraska basketball. You just hope it's not at the wrong time this year, but that is less and less likely.
Yeah.
Less and less likely because of the way, we like to take credit away from their personnel. It's good. Like it's still good. It's not like top of the line at elite athleticism, but it's good.
Well, some of it is you've changed out some guys, and I don't want to just pick at them, but their deficiencies were relatively obvious. That you had guys like CJ Wilcher and Connor Essegian who are largely in there to shoot threes on offense, but were by all accounts really poor defenders. There's nobody that I would look at out of their regular rotation that you would just say is like a really poor defender.
No,
like they don't really have. And then
everybody knows their role. Like
that's the biggest thing. They're like a team that's built around the idea that like, this is what I do well. This is the framework of which I play. And then different guys have stepped up when they've needed to without needing the ball or having to do more. And then you kind of also have Frager, who's in this sort of fun role where you have a bunch of like kind of established pieces, and they're like this pack of dogs. And then you have this like rambunctious puppy that's all over the place that does puppy things and will,
they just tell him to like go cook, man.
Like they try to calm him down a little bit, and then sometimes they just let him off the leash. Let him run around the yard.
I said this a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, Schaefer. Like Nebraska's gotten players like Frager before, but in the past they don't work.
Well, they don't have the framework to make it work.
Exactly. And so he's the perfect guy for this team. He's got the wild card. He's doing the finger gun scissors thing. I don't know what the hell that's going on. I love it though. He is awesome. And we still, and somebody's talking about offense a little bit in the chat there. Like we've only seen a couple games this year where they exploded on offense, and this has the potential when they have a nice shooting night to be a high, to be a high octane offense as well. And so they check all the boxes. So, we will talk more about them as we go on throughout the show today. But
end season.
I think we have decided not a fraud.
Not a fraud. We're there. I will say, like now, it used to be when you'd have this stretch, you'd be like, all right, if Nebraska can just go 2-2, 3-1 against these teams that you're supposed to beat, and now you're kind of looking at it, and it's like weird to be on the other side. We're like, wait. Instead of being the team that's the trap in the trap game, are you the one that might get trapped here? Is Oregon coming in with Dana Altman? Is this a trap game?
I don't know.
Is Washington, sleepy Washington coming in next week, 8 p.m. tip? Is that a trap game?
I don't know. Home games I probably are not like trap games, I guess, but like road games.
No.
Maybe going to Minnesota. It's like a trap game for them.
It's weird. They're all terrifying in a different way.
Like, here's the thing, Schaefer. If you lose on the road at this point, like your metrics aren't going to get bumped that much unless you lose to like the complete wrong team. And the only chance they have to do that is like Rutgers and Minnesota.
Yeah.
And those are the times where you get killed and where you get hurt in the metrics. Those are big quad one opportunities for those teams. Losing at home, losing at I'm sorry, did I just say that backwards? Losing at home will kill you in the metrics. And I don't think Nebraska's in any danger of doing that, with the exception of playing Purdue at home. And that's not going to hurt you in the metrics. They're like fourth on.
They got Illinois at home too.
Right. They have Illinois at home too. Obviously not going to hurt you. So that's why I say they're not going anywhere. Like it's going to be hard to move them off this spot at this point. They're not going anywhere.
I don't care so much about like the metrics aspect of it. It's more so whenever that first loss happens, then I'm going to be fascinated by, this is a veteran team. Do they just bury it and move on? Or is it the sort of thing where like one loss can become two losses and then we have to have the whole conversation at that point?
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We want your guys' thoughts on that. 402-951-1620. You could text into the show. I don't see any text coming in this morning. We got to retrain people on the old text line. So send those in. 402-951-1620. Of course, leave your comments as well. We're back after this on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, so I said before that we were missing some texts. Now we got them. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Alex and Lincoln said, whoa, no text. Love getting the gang back together. Really brings back some good memories. Just wait. On our first show last time we did this, we proclaimed that the town we were in had an enhanced sense of Keaton. Wasn't that our first time?
Yeah, one of our very first shows, we did a mailbag, and we were asked.
We need a mailbag segment.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that.
Maybe it's called I Have an Opinion.
We were asked who would win in a fight between Michael Keaton and John Bon Jovi.
That's right.
And as you do with almost every aspect of your life, you answered in just extreme irrational confidence that it would be John Bon Jovi, and no one agreed with you. Like no one. And it was brought up that Michael Keaton was Batman. Michael Keaton was into like kickboxing.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, I think, is younger. Michael Keaton is bigger.
Yeah. And
all
I was
of
just
these
thinking of
things.
I was just thinking of
And
Keaton
you
from
responded as you would.
Yeah.
Blaming the other people for believing in Michael Keaton.
Yeah, this is society's
claiming
problem.
Lincoln had an enhanced sense of Keaton.
Yeah.
And
Everybody's
but not
like,
that
oh,
you would have an enhanced sense of Bon Jovi.
This guy's a great actor, this and this and this. I like Keaton. He's fine, but come on. Old man Doug writes in, he's here. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's do Greg in Myrtle Beach first. Shout out to
Greg in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Greg in Myrtle Beach, a frequenter of the midday show. He says, welcome, Shafe. Congrats on your reunion, boys. As Odson's poorly compensated agent, I'll warn you to not infringe on my client's copyrighted, top-rated Grunt the Slate segment. Ooh, we can't touch Grunt the Slate.
Oh,
Schaefer
no.
actually has thoughts. Not that Josh didn't, but Schaefer has thoughts on the NFL, so I think he would appreciate actually not grunting them.
Okay, yeah, I probably won't grunt my thoughts
Okay, all right.
often,
Well,
if ever. So I'm not worried about tripping that one.
Joey has thoughts on the NFL. He can't wait to talk about the Packers' big weekend.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. But we got some new ideas. We could talk about my NFL schedule prediction once that comes into fruition.
Oh, we look forward to the
I
release of that.
I was doing a fill-in show in, let's see, that drops in May. It was been like 2 days before the NFL schedule release, and I found out about Joey's giant
He's
the
already
Google Doc.
Yeah,
that
he's got a
he sends it
spreadsheet.
over to me, and I'm like looking through this thing, and I'm like,
It's amazing.
This is the stuff of serial killers. I love it.
It's really
The
incredible
spreadsheet's
stuff.
ready. I have to wait until probably March to actually work on my craft.
There will be time. So Schaefer and everybody else will be thinking about Nebraska ball, and Joey would be like, what network are the Bears and the Vikings going to be on this year? All right. Old man Doug follows up on his question from earlier. He said, Schaefer never answered the Creighton question. Maybe a future in politics, ? LOL. I'm happy for Nebraska basketball, but don't understand the mutual hatred. Well, we don't have to get into that. That is not a day one topic. I'm sure we will talk about Creighton versus Nebraska at some point.
People forget Nebraska has won the last two against Creighton.
They do.
And it looks like they may never lose again to Creighton or otherwise.
You don't think they'll ever lose again? Is that
Probably not.
Is that prediction?
They will
number one?
never lose to Creighton.
I don't.
Should we put it on the board? Let's consider.
Well, we'll have to. Cash that in December. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Venmo Chris. He says also Schaefer being the only Vikings fan I respect. I await your roasting today. We need it. Oh, Joey, you're here for Mike Schaefer today.
I don't know how I'm the only Vikings fan a Packers fan would respect, but I appreciate it, Venmo Chris.
Honestly, after how this season's gone, I'm starting to respect Minnesota more.
Wow. Look at this mutual respect. Well, I don't know that Schaefer has any respect for the
I
Packers.
have none. Saturday was very difficult. It was choosing between like which storyline would interest me more from a Schadenfreude perspective. The Packers completely blowing it. The Bears' magical season ending with just a complete, horrible coaching job from Ben Johnson in the first half. And I didn't know which route I wanted it to go down.
Well, you
Matt
had.
LaFleur said, "Hold my drink."
I think you had two great options.
It was,
and
but
really
at
it
the
worked
same
out
time,
okay.
All I'm thinking to myself is, if you had just a semblance of okay quarterback play, you win that division with ease. Like ease. Minnesota's defense by the end of the year was like a top 5 unit. They just needed
so while
a quarterback to navigate the schedule.
So let me get this straight. While you were sitting there in as big of a Nirvana situation as you can for your team not being in the playoffs, one of these teams has to lose in excruciating fashion. That one of the teams that you hate has to lose in excruciating fashion. You chose to punish yourself by thinking, if only we didn't have JJ McCarthy.
Even when watching Saturday night, the loser is still me for having to watch JJ McCarthy all of 2025 when he managed to show up and play football games and put his stupid eye black on for indoor games.
Classic sad sack stuff from Mike Schaefer. Still sulking, even when he gets a great opportunity to laugh at teams he hates.
It always comes back to me.
It
always comes back to me.
There will still be opportunities to laugh at teams that he hates. We'll do that as we go on throughout the show today. We'll take a quick time out. Be back after this. It's Happer and Schaefer, a brand new show here on 1620 The Zone.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone. Don't forget, check us out on Twitter or X, whatever, at Happen Schaefer. That is our new Twitter handle. So if you want to send in thoughts during the show, please send them there. Or, of course, you can find us at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer. Got a text here from Bruce. Hi, Bruce. Do you guys carpool to work? And if so, do you take Underwood or Dodge? So I texted you this last night, Schaefer, when I was over at my in-laws' house the other night, and you know, told everybody the whole story and everything. And my mother-in-law knew that you lived close to me, and she was like, the first thing she said, she was like, "Well, you guys gonna carpool? I think it could work. You guys gonna carpool?" And I was like, "Wow, I hadn't even really considered that. What an idea!" Probably not, just to give ourselves the freedom to go into different places. But I thought it was hilarious how the carpool thing is usually the first thing to people's minds these days.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the idea. I think we have to sort of figure out if the schedules line up. I don't know what you do immediately after the show. I don't know if
Exactly.
you know what you're going to do
day by day.
immediately.
It'll be a very different thing.
Your end of the show is so much earlier now. You have so much left of the day.
I can have lunch.
You can have lunch. I would imagine you're going to have so many lunches in your future.
I'm going to have sandwiches.
Yeah. That slicer is going to be working overtime.
It is. I might get a whole hunk of meat on my way back home today. What do you think about that?
I love it.
I think it's going to be great.
I really hope that you go into a place and you just ask for a hunk. I need a hunk.
Have you ever
Give
gone
me a
to,
hunk of ham?
Have you ever gone to the deli at like Hy-Vee, and they sell the whole chunk?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like they have access to it.
I was like, "Do you guys sell the whole chunks?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I don't remember what it was, for the whole deal. But I was like, "Can I do like half of that?" And they were like, "Absolutely."
Do you worry about being able to preserve it though?
Yes, I immediately. But I the last time I did it, I just wanted to
Use the slicer.
The last time was the only time. Yeah, I just wanted to do it just so I could, number one, say that I went to the store and I bought the entire chunk of meat from the deli, and the other reason was I wanted to use the slicer, which has been unfortunately gathering dust for quite some time.
Yeah, I think that at some point you need to have like a slicer party where people just bring over, like they can bring over the block of cheese, or they can bring over their own hunk of meat, and then they just slice up what they want, and they can make their own sandwiches that way.
Bring a hunk of something to my house, and I will slice it for you. That's an idea. And you might need an industrial slicer, though. It's kind of like a kitchen top, like, stuff that you would find. Like, it's almost like an air fryer, that type of appliance. I need if there's any sandwich shops that are closing down anywhere, let me know, and maybe I could get a slicer on on clearance. I would pay, obviously.
Well, yeah, we gotta look for a failing sandwich shop. In Lincoln, there was many. I could probably have directed you to several.
I know.
Most of them resided in downtown and were chains and did not last very long.
I know. Places coming
here, I don't know. The Omaha food scene has been.
Hey, we have sandwich places popping up like crazy these days.
Yeah. No, we went to one.
We visited a sandwich place.
We
together.
had lunch when you were, previously you had not been able to have lunch, and then when you had your break, we specifically got on the calendar.
That was a great time. That was a great
pastrami.
Time. Pastrami, indeed. And all those nice people in there. That was fantastic. All right. Another call. Let's do it here on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. It is another regular Nebraska ball Mike. Hi, Mike.
Am I allowed to old man for a minute?
Sure, of course you are. We just had old man Doug. If you could do old man Nebraska ball Mike.
I appreciate that. Connor, you're in an adult seat right now.
What'd you say?
I said you're in an adult seat right now.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
Gary is a pro. Total pro. Okay? I've got questions. I know you guys can't answer all of them because of the way media works, all that. I felt safe calling in the morning because Gary was going to take that conversation where he knew it needed to go. And I know things change. I know I'll get used to it eventually. But right now, I'm in mourning, and I'd rather this not happen during this basketball season, because this was going to be the one. And the fact that he's not on the air right now, it makes me sad. We're going to get it done this year, and I will call back eventually, and I will listen eventually, but this is going to take some time for me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to you soon.
Understood. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call.
Bye.
Thanks as always. I agree. Professional. Never a good time to do anything, but I don't know. It's not like any of us wanted to upheave the entire thing and change it overnight, So this is the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
And we're just going to try and have fun every day.
We move forward.
And we move forward. We move forward in a world where Nebraska basketball is undefeated and Indiana football is about to win the national championship. That is literally going to happen. This is real. These are real times. Do you agree?
I have no argument.
Okay.
Somewhere in October, I made peace with the idea that Indiana was the best football team in the country.
So I don't know. Let's talk about Indiana for a second, who absolutely dismantled Oregon in the semifinal on Friday night. I don't know how many standard deviations Curt Cignetti is better than every other coach in America, but it has to be like 3 at least, right? I mean, there's no other way that this makes sense, because it's not fairy dust with them anymore. It's not magic, right? It's, there is probably this unspoken thing about, everybody always points to, hey, look, they brought all over these James Madison guys and whatever. But like, it happened so fast. It happened right away. They were really good last year. They are incredible this year. It's not like their talent, it took that big of a jump in the offseason, or anything like that. This is just the greatest coaching job that any of us have ever seen.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at on this situation. I gave on the Cignetti thing weeks ago. He is doing something that we have never seen before.
What I want and what I hope is that people will stop with if Indiana can do it, there's not another comparable to this situation. Like, no.
That is a great point.
I threw this out there in some other places, and people came back with, well, yeah, but Nick Saban did a quick turnaround and all these other, and it's like, okay, so Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, and I forget who the other name was that were mentioned. It's like, you're talking about coaches that are on the Mount Rushmore, and even they needed time to do it, or they were coming from places where, like, Urban Meyer was undefeated at Utah when he left to go to Florida. Like, this is Curt Cignetti going from James Madison to Indiana,
yeah.
And in 2 years, they're playing in the national championship game. They just assaulted an Oregon program that Phil Knight has spent literal decades and hundreds of millions of dollars, and they aren't at the level that Indiana is.
Yeah. I mean, and clearly
it took them 2 years.
Like and here's the thing, here's a clue into this. I mean, they beat Oregon in the regular season. They didn't beat Oregon like that.
No.
So like that, what does that tell you? They're just really good at coaching.
First play from scrimmage.
Yeah.
Was a pick six.
Yeah.
And it was 2 parts. I mean, obviously you had Dante Moore did not throw that ball to where it needed to be thrown. But there's no way anyone can tell me that they hadn't spent a ton of time on film study, recognized that pattern and that play immediately, and that defensive back was ready to jump that ball without question, no hesitation. The training, the focus, the study, all of it applied on that first singular play, and it's just go play football, go do what I'm supposed to do. A part of it with Indiana is they're smarter than you.
I know.
They are so advanced in what they're trying to do. Like when they absolutely dismantled Nebraska, Yeah, some of it Nebraska didn't show them play a great football game that day. Some of it's Nebraska's Nebraska, whatever we want to apply to it. Their concepts, what they're doing, like it is just
They just make you pay
it is
for
not
everything.
football 101. It's like football 402 or something.
So here's the thing with them now that has happened for me. They have grown. They have like, somebody asked Signetti in the press conference a couple of weeks ago before they played Alabama. He's like, "What do you think about the Alabama mystique?" Right, and I get that, the brand and Saban
Well,
and
he
sort
was
of
part
the
of it
entire
too.
thing. Right, of course. But Indiana has mystique now, and I just it's insane how we've gone from and really this happened this season for some people, myself included. Hand up, I went from I still don't know if this is real. Like they gave up a 75-yard touchdown run on the first play of the season to Old Dominion. I'm like, yes, this is great. It was a fluke last year. This is incredible. And
Famously, the people of Indiana do not like Connor Happer.
No, they don't. Because I said
They will not be listening this morning.
No, they will not be. Because we've already talked about their basketball team losing to Nebraska ball as well. They've gone from that, I'm not sure how good they are, to, oh my God, if we make a mistake against these guys, we are going to die a horrible death. We are like one mistake. You can't screw up because they're not going to give you anything. They're not going to screw up, right? Like, and so so it's like this perfect combination of, that's how Nebraska feels, and that's how I think most teams feel when they play Iowa. Like if we screw up against these guys, we're screwed. Paired with an explosive offense and relentless execution. It's amazing how they've gone from that to that in such a short order. And I think they have a mystique about them now because going into the game, Miami is going to know going into the game, hey, if we make a mistake here, like we're done. Our time is limited. And I think, there's really something to be said about that when you go into each of those games thinking about that.
The thing about Miami is that often they get into the game and the other team is like, oh, wow, these guys are physical. Like they're hitting,
right.
Like they're coming after.
Yeah, maybe some of it is like the unexpected.
Yeah, this is their brand. You know who's not remotely concerned about that? Indiana, who's that, but it doesn't ever feel like it. But then you watch them play and it's like their defense has been legitimate. Their offense can win in different ways. I can't think of it. I'm drawing a blank on who their kind of top receiver is. He had a catch early in that
Indiana.
Game. Yeah.
Surratt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could not come up with the name. He had a catch early in that game where the Oregon defender is just draped all over him. He's on the boundary, so he has really nowhere to go. And he's still just physically able to push through all of this contact, haul in a perfect pass from Mendoza, and they get like a 27-yard gain on it on a critical third down right after Oregon had their like 7-minute drive. And it's like,
it's demoralizing.
Oregon has the horrible start, but then they're able to kind of piece it all together. They have this big, long drive, and it's like, okay, Oregon just shut out Texas Tech. Now Indiana's offense is coming onto the field. We've got a potential football game here. 4 minutes later, Indiana's down the field. They've converted the critical third down. They've made a couple big plays. Mendoza does a couple smart things. Then they're in the end zone. It's 14-7. Oregon's forced to punt shortly thereafter, and it's like, this game's over.
And when they get into those situations where, like you said, maybe we do have a game here, they always make the play. Yeah. They always make the play. They're like, that's why the comps to Nebraska ball keep happening, because that's them. That's them too. They just keep like, all right, they do everything right. They're not going to screw up. Ooh, actually, we might have them today.
What I'm hearing here is that next year's Nebraska basketball team is the title.
Yeah, they're going to win the national championship. We've succumbed to all this. Take that Nebraska ball, Mike. Yeah, I said it. Great things about Nebraska basketball. All right, we'll be back as Indiana will play Miami
real quickly,
in the national championship.
I know you want to get out, but real quickly, Mendoza, you're the Raiders. You're taking him number one. Like, is he a franchise quarterback for you based on what you've watched from him?
I don't know.
It's really difficult, but then I watch him and it's like he throws a hell of a ball.
I don't know who the better option would be, but
I know it's not I'm not taking Dante Moore over him. I know that.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's like next year is a big year for the quarterbacks, obviously with Arch Manning and everything else.
Yeah.
But if you're the Raiders, like, I don't know how you don't take Mendoza. And yet at the same time, it's like, am I that fired up about it? I don't know.
And I'm not like super
Like, can I hire Kurt Signetti and draft Mendoza?
Then yes. Then yes, I'd love to do that. Maybe the Raiders should try that.
Like, is there a world where Signetti wins the national title and he's like, you know what?
I don't think so.
I'm going to the NFL.
I don't think so. I think this is.
What if someone just
I think he's about to build something.
oodles of money at him? I mean, the Raiders can't because Mark Davis isn't that rich. But
what do you mean oodles? Like, what are we talking?
With the
there?
NFL, there's no cap on what you can pay your coach.
Right.
So if someone's like, hey, I want to make you a $25 million a year head coach in the NFL, and he's 60, whatever he is.
Yeah.
And he's already gone the progression, from the lower level up to now he's at Indiana, wins a national title in 2 years. He's in his 60s, and someone's offering you massive money to go coach in the best football league in the world. He has to at least consider it.
He always, well, I don't know. We're just getting to know him now, but I think he's a college coach.
I don't know what
he
he
just
is.
has the college coach thing.
I think he's a robot.
But yeah,
I think he's a Terminator sent here to destroy all of us.
He's definitely a cyborg. That's for sure. All right, we'll take a break. We'll take your thoughts on that, get to some of those, and a couple of other things as we continue on. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Oh.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have your chance to win Creighton basketball tickets when they take on Georgetown tomorrow night, CHIL Center, 8 o'clock. You'll be able to hear it here on 1620 The Zone at 1019 The Keg. But we want to send you to the ball game, and we'll have an opportunity to do so later on in the program today. NFL this weekend, America's chaos team, the Chicago Bears. That's the story of the weekend, right? I mean, maybe the story of the weekend is just how awesome all the games were.
Except for one.
Except for one, yeah.
And even that one, up until probably midway through the third quarter, felt like there was some doubt to whether the Patriots were going to be able to pull that off.
Right, yeah. I didn't personally enjoy for the last month and a half of the season Justin Herbert just attempt to complete a pass and fail the majority of the time. And that certainly was the case last night. But the story of the weekend, I guess, is how good all of it was, which tracks with what we thought going into the postseason, which was this is wide open, and I don't know what it's going to look like. But the craziest game certainly was Joey Colbert's Green Bay Packers.
Unfortunately,
getting 21-3.
Yeah, it was 21-3 at the half, and they were kicking the field goal. They made it, but Ben Johnson iced McManus, and then that's when he started missing his kicks.
So do you want to fire everybody, Joey? Is this where we're at today? Packers, Joey?
Right now, I mean, after the game, I was in that mood, but
Okay.
then I was seeing rumors that if they let go LaFleur, then John Harbaugh is kind of lined up for Green Bay.
So you would like that?
Well,
you would dislike that?
I would dislike it. Just an
Oh.
older head coach, and he had similar.
You don't like
problems.
old people, Joey?
I don't like old people, even though I'm an angry old man. But anyway,
John Harbaugh would be a great get for the Packers.
Yeah, I'm over here as a Vikings fan, I'm like, keep LaFleur. Keep him.
But my thing is, the Ravens noticeably blown a lot of big-time leads throughout the season, the previous seasons, and that's kind of what the Packers had issues in this season. That's why they lost several of their games. They had leads blown.
Joey in a mental pretzel puts Mike Schaefer in just a great position. This is great for you. This pleases Mike Schaefer.
Yeah, I have thoughts, of course, on the Packers coaching situation. I personally would like everything to remain as it is. One of the things that I enjoy every year is just the over-the-top nature. You know how there's the discourse about Nebraska with the offseason national championship? For the last several years, it's been, this is the youngest team in the NFL.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers have all these weapons. It's all going to come together. And then, they get Micah Parsons, and this is the best defense in the NFL. At no point, at any point, in 2025, did they threaten to be the best defense?
I was
in the
skeptical.
NFL?
I was still skeptical, even though they got Micah Parsons, because I know that secondary is suspect at most times.
I watched Sam Darnold rip that secondary up 2 times last
Yeah,
year.
he did
And
it.
Kevin O'Connell.
And they had Jair Alexander on the roster, and right now their number one guy is Keyshawn Nixon, which he's very
a return man, and
he's a huge liability.
Yeah.
Covering the best guys.
So I personally hope they stick with LaFleur because I think John Harbaugh's a really good coach.
I do too.
I find Josh Peterson has this opinion more similar to Joey as well. Some of it is with the Ravens, they don't have pass rush. So if you can't,
their defense sucked this year.
If you can't get after the quarterback and you're leading big and they're just able to throw all over you because you can't pin your ears back and you can't really blitz because you want to hold people back for that too. It's really difficult. In the NFL, if you can't get after the quarterback, you are dead. You might not be dead immediately. At some point, you're dead.
Well, look at what happened with the Packers. They lost Micah Parsons and their season tanked immediately.
We talk all the time about quarterbacks and offense and all of it. Every team in the college football playoffs that truly mattered had an incredible defensive line. Nebraska's season, largely, when it came down to games, why they could win and why they couldn't win, they couldn't put pressure on the other team to force turnovers, to get off the field. If you can't do that, eventually it's going to run out. You're not going to be able to middle out these games the way that Nebraska kind of did earlier.
That's a great way to put it.
And Baltimore, whether it was leads against New England, leads against Pittsburgh, leads against, all these different teams, like you have all over the spectrum, it's always the same thing. JJ McCarthy was back there with plenty of time to throw in a game that should have been put away 5 different times for the Ravens, and Minnesota still had the ball, and a touchdown would have won the game at the end. So just like watching Baltimore all year, not a good enough secondary, not a good enough pass rush. It didn't matter that you had Henry and Jackson, and they didn't even play well. And they still almost made the playoffs, and if their kicker makes, was it a 37-yard field goal?
Yeah.
Like Blair Walsh territory?
Yeah.
A little further back than Blair Walsh, and his miss wasn't nearly as bad.
No.
But
I get it. I get the point.
I don't even know that we're talking about John Harbaugh being like, that's the difference. And 2 years ago, they were the best team in the NFL. I like my coach.
I'm going to bang the rant gong for you because you're preaching to the choir on this one.
I hate watching bad organizations like when the Browns and the Titans do this with Vrabel and Stefanski.
I know.
Very good coaches that are hamstrung by stupid decision makers. And then to see the Ravens do it with a guy who won a Super Bowl, who has been a very good coach for them.
I think though,
they might just need a change.
That just ran its course, probably. Not to say ran its course. It just, like you said, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to get some fresh stuff going on.
I think it's gonna be really hard to find the right coach that fits with Lamar Jackson.
There's a lot of times where this happens though, where a guy is universally loved around the NFL, and then he becomes like, everybody's hot candidate in the offseason. But then the team that he's leaving or the team that he's being let go from is like, yeah, I get that. I get all that. We just have to deal with that. That's okay. We need a new direction. We need some fresh new stuff.
The way you're describing it is like when it's a breakup and the friend group is like, oh, we really liked her. She was great.
Yeah,
what were you doing?
I know. And then the guy's like,
I need
can't.
something different. But he doesn't want to go into what everything was going on behind the scenes.
And to your point, it usually doesn't work out for that guy.
It can. You never know.
Maybe he grades up, or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, to rant gong on John Harbaugh. What do we do with it? We don't have much time on this, so maybe we save it for the next segment. What do we do with Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna need more time.
All right, so we can take a break.
Yeah.
But
let me freshly get in. I'm sure Joey will have thoughts, having watched him 3 times this year.
And
well.
in a little over a month.
So this
no kidding. Wow.
I'll set the scene for this. This just might be the formula for this season. And we'll talk about him in the bigger picture, when we come back in our next segment. But he is an agent of chaos. He is inconsistent.
Is he good?
Is he good?
Bad?
I don't know.
Is he insane? Are we insane? Has he broken the mold?
Yeah, maybe. That's probably the discussion point. So we'll get to that when we return after this on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from our friends at Underdog Fantasy, ladies and gentlemen. We're all set for another week of the playoffs, and that's where we want to get you on the underdog action, the best place to get on the gridiron action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. It's very easy. Just pick if your favorite players, like, I don't know, Josh Allen maybe, will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get those right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. My favorite player, Josh Allen. You just take hires on everything because it's the playoffs, and he's literally the only person on his team, and he's about to ball out. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Get served with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, there is rejoice in the streets as Adam Schefter tweets. The Packers are now expected to work out a deal in the coming days to keep head coach Matt LaFleur in Green Bay,
boy.
per sources.
I like it. Great
Are
move.
they giving him an ultimatum and get rid of Richard Bisaccia, the old man Richard, whose kicker cost them 7 points in the second half?
Joey hates Rich Bisaccia.
He's horrible. Special teams have been a problem for the Packers for the last 10 years since the onside kick against the Seattle Seahawks.
It's been pretty great. Like the Vikings notoriously the playoff kicking failures and all of that. But, quietly behind the scenes without as much, Joey has given more light to it than most people realize.
Yeah.
That is an organization that they've gone through it. Like when Mason Crosby fell off a cliff.
Oh, yeah.
That was a joyous time for me.
Yeah,
watching him attempt to make PATs.
5 missed field goals against Detroit in 2022, I think.
The
It was
Schadenfreude was
sometime-
so high.
Some time ago.
Oh, man. That's fun. Well, there you go. He's
I'll cross my fingers that Richard Bisaccia is gone because the special teams have been atrocious for the last few years.
Packers fan Sam, who has been really tweeting through it this weekend, by the way. He tweets at me. He says, "This is good. I'm fine running it back again with Kraft, Tom, AJ, Parsons, and he's much too handsome to fire." What do you think about that, Joey? Do you agree?
He is
Matt LaFleur, much too handsome to fire.
He is one of the two prettiest guys on the NFC North. I would say him and O'Connell are tied for first.
There's a big gap for those
Then-
two, and then where Ben
then-
Johnson, and then
Now-
wherever kneecap biting Dan Campbell finds himself on that
I would
list.
put
Not
I
on the
would put Dan
attractive scale.
Campbell at third.
You put him over Ben
I
Johnson.
think he's pretty.
Now you just hate Ben Johnson now because of this whole handshake situation.
No, Ben Johnson's like
He's
angling
trying
to
to-
be the bad boy of the NFL, and
He's
it's
trying
just
to make this
it's gonna
Ohio
be
State,
a
Michigan.
clown show for him. Like it's great. I love it. I love all of what is transpired.
He's
here.
trying to be Nick Sirianni.
All right, so now we give Schaefer. So what I want to do in this segment traditionally, actually, is have like a classic radio segment, something of the weekend, right? Man of the weekend. I don't know, like analysis of the weekend, like crazy person of the weekend, whatever it might be. But we're going to use this opportunity for Mike Schaefer to wonder of the weekend. I don't know. We're going to use this opportunity for Mike Schaefer to wonder about Caleb Williams and maybe talk himself into him being good. I'm not sure where this is going to end up.
I don't know if I can get there. I don't know what to make of it because if you watch that game, and everyone will talk about that insane fourth down throw, like it was nuts.
Yeah.
I assume you saw it.
Yes.
I don't know what you had going on
Yeah.
Saturday night, but so he has this play. It's basically the game is on the line. It's fourth and I don't know, it was 6 or 7.
It was 4th and 8. It was after
Yeah.
they took a delay of game.
And so he's forced to scramble, off to his left, and he makes his bizarre, odd sort of throw, like he's off platform.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes like that's when Caleb Williams is off platform, it's probably when he's the most dangerous.
Oh, definitely.
Which is why the entirety of the Bears offense doesn't make sense to me, because Ben Johnson built his entire career off of Jared Goff, who has never been off platform.
Very
once.
insistent.
When Jared Goff is off platform, he's on his back. It's a sack, a fumble, whatever. It's going the other way.
Yep.
So I never understood how this was going to work. They're now a year into it and have won these games. And I would point out that they went 6-0 against teams that are picking in the top 10 in the NFL draft here in April, whenever that comes around. So the fourth place schedule, big part of this for the Bears. Yet at the same time, in the same game, you will see Caleb Williams do things that there's maybe no one else in the NFL that can do. And then you will see him miss passes that 29 out of the 32 quarterbacks will take JJ McCarthy out and whoever the Raiders are starting that week.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then Caleb Williams. Those are the three that can't do it. So like,
and that's when he's set and like everything works out well. It's like, he missed it.
You would ask people who, like, you'd be like, yeah, what quarterback impressed you the most this weekend? And someone would say Caleb Williams, and you'd be like, well, he had some incredible throws, big plays. And then you go look at it and he has this awful QBR. He completed like 53% of his passes. He threw horrible interceptions. He's put in bad situations because his head coach was a moron for the first half of the game and just kept gambling on it on fourth down when it was not necessary to do so. And then putting like do or die situations early in the game. So he's like very hard for me to figure out because I watch him play he doesn't. There are times where he makes amazing plays. And then there are times where it's like, this guy is going to be out of the league in 5 years because he can't do simple stuff.
Let me bounce this off you. Like, I think we've seen, in the NFL where it used to be about having quarterbacks who really, did all the things on platform to what you just said. And obviously you still have to be able to do that consistently enough. That's where Caleb's situation is a little bit weird because I don't know that he does it as consistently as they would want him to, like the normal things. But we've seen a little bit of a trend over the last couple of years of like you have guys like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and their expertise where they win is when stuff breaks down, whether it's on a single play or bringing their team back late in games or just being better on third and fourth downs and in crucial situations and stuff like that. Now, I don't think, Caleb's still young, so we don't have the answer on this yet. But
he's only in his second season,
right? And so it's I'm not trying to say like, oh, he's just not going to be good at the simple stuff as he goes on throughout his career. But the fact that he has, the late game playmaking stuff, I feel like that's what NFL coaches are looking for now. That's what NFL franchises are looking for now, rather than this guy's just going to do the normal, because then you have to be so much better in other places. This guy can be really good as the plays break down, and he can make ridiculous throws that very few people can. It's just a contrast with, why doesn't he do the simple stuff consistently enough?
Well, but it's also, can he not shipwreck you so badly that you can get to the point where he can make those throws?
And I think so. They've
been able to survive it so far this year. This
might be the formula, Schaefer. Yeah. Like this might be it. I'm not telling you that the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl or anything.
They
like
are
that.
not going to win the Super Bowl.
I don't think they are either. But if it's close and it's late, I don't know. Like they might win. You know what I mean?
Well, that's all they've done all year.
Exactly.
I mean, they just played in this version of a game. It's generally been against teams that they are significantly better than. So for the fact that they've done this to the Packers twice is remarkable. If they do this to the Rams, then it's like a whole other conversation. I mean, their best win all year was when they just beat the crap out of the Eagles on Black Friday.
Right.
And they have one version of that we've seen. If they can do this to the Rams, like at this point, I don't know that I can doubt the Bears as much as I have, because I can always just sort of point back to, well, who they've been doing it against. That win on Saturday was
incredible.
Impressive.
It was incredible.
Super, super impressive because they were dead and buried. And they figured out a way to win. Like I owe them that much, but long term, I'm just fascinated by what it's going to look like with Caleb Williams. You assume that he's going to continue to get better and the shipwrecking won't always be there. But I'll throw another former number one pick at you and just ask you, like, do you have a clear-cut view on Trevor Lawrence right now, 5 years into his NFL career?
Probably on the scale that we just talked about with Williams, there is more like he's got more of the regular stuff and less of the playmaking stuff.
But there's a lot of the shipwrecking that's in there too.
And he had a good team around him this year, and he was
a big part of that too. Yeah. Like he down the stretch was great.
Right. So do I have a fully formed opinion on him? I suppose not at this point. Some of it is like the Jacksonville of it all too.
Yeah.
You just don't
that's the part that I have to like.
Right.
Everything about that franchise,
it can't
it's
trust
like
it.
Warming fish up in the microwave. That's what I think of Jacksonville Jaguars football.
And Caleb, he's got the Bears kind of.
And the Bears are like fish that gets left under the bed for 2 weeks.
He's got like a bear, like there's a Bears stink, but he's trying to, the Bears quarterback stink. It's very famous over the years, but if you make a deep playoff run one time with one guy, I mean, it makes it smell a lot better pretty quickly.
Now I'm trying to think of where he already ranks in terms of the best Bears quarterbacks I've seen in my lifetime.
It's remarkably
and it might
high,
be like,
Schaefer.
so it's Jay Cutler would be 1, which is saying a lot. Is he already 2?
It's remarkably high. That would be a great crossover topic for this afternoon.
Oh, yeah,
or
we'll save that one
later
Put a
this
pin in
morning
that.
in a couple hours. All right, let's take a break. 8:00 hour is coming up next. Tim Verkes of Inside Nebraska is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. So have Michael Brunts today at 9:15. We'll be back on the maiden voyage of Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone.
Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you here on Happer and Schaefer. 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Of course, you can tweet at us on our new Twitter handle at HappenSchaef, HAPP, and Schaef, SCHAEF. We both have. I mean, that's probably, admittedly, it's probably not the best Twitter handle, but it's the. It's what I came up with at about 11 o'clock last night as I was absolutely exhausted from the day. I'm like, all right, I got to put like 3 more things together before I go to bed and wake up in the morning.
I'm really hoping my number is associated with that other account so I can actually go in and just nuke it. And then
me too. You definitely made that.
Well, it was the recruiting hour, and then it just got switched over to Happer and Schaefer.
You definitely made that.
Yeah, no, it's just a matter of I don't know what email it's associated with. I don't think the recruiting hour.
So you're not logged into it. And
no,
it's not on.
I used to be, and I think at this point when Twitter changed hands and became X, I had to re-log into everything. And so I think that's one of the accounts I don't have access to, but we'll figure it
out. Should we recap what happened with Nebraska football this weekend in the portal?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk about that with Tim Verghese in just a little bit. He was in San Antonio as well, taking a look at some potential new Huskers, potential other folks, of course. And then the portal is going on through the remainder of this week. So some notes from me. I love that they got a guy named Victor. Number one, I love that they got a guy named Victor. I don't know anything about Victor. I can't even remember Victor's last name.
Evans.
I love that they got a guy named Victor.
From Florida International.
I like the guy whose last name is Shiggs. That is a great last name. Incredible stuff there. And then they got Danny Kalen back, which sort of rounds out the quarterback room. I think a little, at least as it's planned right now. I mean, you have Tony Calandria, the starting quarterback. You got TJ, and then
are you going with Tony? Is that what you're?
I've been calling him Tony as sort of a kind of a bit, but I think it's sticking in my brain right now. Like Anthony Calandria is a cool name, but I think I like to call him Tony. Like that Tony.
Every time someone says Tony, I immediately just go to Sopranos, and I just want to hear people calling him T.
Yeah.
Like just the Chris Moltisan T.
Yeah.
Everything T.
Yeah. Big T.
You think about that T.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to go with Tony. So then you have him, you have Latif, and you have Kalen, which is, I don't know. I mean, I think that's if it stays that way, who knows what happens in the next 4 days or whatever it might be. If it stays that way, I think that's a situation that Nebraska would be happy to live with at that position.
I feel good about that quarterback room relative to what it looked like it could have been at some point in time. So, I mean, the biggest thing is what, I'm kind of beating a dead horse. This has been my whole.
Where are the defensive linemen?
No,
oh,
that's not.
I thought that's what you were going to say. That really?
No.
Wow.
That's whatever that is. Fair. That's a real question.
I'm trying to think of other dead horses that are out there to
This is a hobby horse, I guess, if you would. And then I've just beaten it to death because I started this in November.
Running back.
No, that's another hobby horse.
Offensive lineman?
No. Okay, well, let me introduce you to this.
Wide receivers?
No, you're just dancing around the entirety of the topic.
Tight ends?
No.
All right.
The hobby horse that I've beaten to death since November is Dana Holgorsen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Like, everything can look good on paper. We don't know what that offense that he actually wants to run.
It is a great question.
I am so tired of hearing that without Dylan Raiola, he can finally run what he wants to run. Okay, what is it? Someone explain to me what that offense is. Dana hasn't explained it. He goes up every press conference that he has, and he says some words, and the media all laughs, and we all laugh, and, Dana's Dana and whatever it is. And then he runs his offense, and then we all laugh because it sucked. It sucked. He's come here.
It didn't make any
in
sense.
2024. He had his 4-game stretch, and you think, okay, he's going to have the whole offseason. We'll see what he builds. We'll see what this looks like. They averaged 22 points a game against Power 4 competition. They spent so much money on that side of the ball, and they averaged 22 points a game. My contention the entire time is, well, yeah, the defense was never going to be that good because you put all of your resources into an offense that was supposed to score points, and then it didn't. And then it's always been, oh, well, Dylan couldn't move and this and that. And it's like, okay, you had your chance to go get a quarterback. What offense are you going to run?
How much of that, Schaefer, do you think is like, I could never tell, and I guess we may never know the answer to this question, because Holgorsen was so different, and he was known as a really good offensive coordinator before he came here. And
Yeah,
it just hasn't
exactly.
really clicked yet. And so you also have a head coach who we know really, I think favors the defensive side and wants to be a defensive program. You wonder how much of his, input was on all of this stuff and what Nebraska. And then there was the quarterback who I think Nebraska over the last couple of years had to make some probably concessions for him and do some things that way a little bit. So I am not throwing in the towel on Dana, but you're right. I don't know where we've been, and I don't know where we're going. And so it'll be really fascinating with an ultimate wild card quarterback in Big T, Tone, coming in. I don't know what they're going to get from him.
Wild T.
And to be honest with you, if it looks anything close to what it has over the last 2 years, he's going to get eaten alive by the turnover monster, right? Like it will fall apart at the seams. And so they have to figure out their identity on offense, immediately.
So part of it is you watch these other teams, and I think the Utah game hammered this point home a lot more than Iowa, but even Iowa had more offensive creativity going for it on Black Friday than Nebraska did. And maybe, again, there's always these excuses. And it's like at some point, I want the guy that we were told is this offensive genius. And I've watched his offenses in the past.
He's good.
And they're very good. And they're full of creative, different ways to get his playmakers the ball. Then there's what we've seen here.
It's amazing.
And you brought up the Matt Rule thing. And I guess the pushback that I would have there, and this is just what is being said, and it's not like I'm in the walls of that building and have experience with knowing everything that's going on. But Matt Rule, part of bringing Dana Holgorsen in is that Matt Rule wanted an offensive head coach effectively. He would be the overall head coach, wouldn't have to worry about the offensive side of the ball because he would entrust Dana to do everything there. Dana had carte blanche to replace any coach he wanted when he got here. And the only move they made was to get rid of Garrett McGuire, and they brought in Daikiel Shorts, and their wide receivers were not better in any sort of meaningful way, production-wise, than they were a year ago. I think they were better overall.
Yeah.
And they were better at blocking.
I'm looking forward to a year where most of the guys in that room come back and they don't have so much turnover. But anyway, I agree.
Yeah, no, and I get it. That's fair. It all just comes back to every step of the way. There's, maybe this, and at some point, I want to see what this offense is supposed to be.
I know.
They had an All-American running back, and they averaged 22 points a game. They had an All-American running back, and they scored 26 points between Penn State and Iowa combined. They didn't score in the second half, I think, in both of those games. One of them. I mean, and
it's not like the All-American running back thing was like a product of the offense.
It was a product of just usage.
As a product of they had to do it.
And Emmett created a lot of those yards himself.
Yes.
So it's just like as we go through this offseason, people are going to be so annoyed by this. One, that I'm even on the air, but two, I am tired of just giving a pass to Dana will figure it out. I don't know that he will. I don't think we have enough evidence to show that the football game hasn't passed him by because Nebraska lacked incredible creativity on offense. Their big play was a wide receiver screen.
Yeah.
That was their notable contribution to offense this year.
I still wonder.
That wasn't Emmett Johnson just creating stuff. Their other big thing, the wide receiver wheel route. Or excuse me, not the wide receiver, the running back wheel route.
The wheel route.
Yeah.
It's magic. I know people love this.
So I don't
know, Schaefer,
very much
the
mindset, I want to know, no Raiola is the offensive line coach. You've now been here for a second off season. This is Dana's offense, full stop. And if it's not good, we're out of excuses.
100%.
And that rule might be out of a job.
Yeah, I think, at least it's a heavier conversation at the end of next year. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the off season and you're looking for optimism at some point in the next 10, 8, 9, 10 months. I have to see what it looks like without Dylan Raiola.
Yeah.
I have to see what it looks like because I just don't know. I wonder if you put a percentage on it and the failures of the offense over the last 2 years in particular, how much of it's Holgerson? Obviously, it all comes to him at a certain point because he's the OC. How much of it is Rule's input on all this stuff? And how much of it is Dylan, whether it's, checking out of stuff or like whatever the hell he was doing, right?
Yeah, and there's a real conversation about how much freedom he was given when it affects the rest of the 10 guys that are out there playing.
Absolutely.
He's checking out of stuff and it puts your pass protection into actual crisis. I mean, that's part of the issues. The reverse of this is wherever Dylan ends up, if he goes and he's just an explosive offensive quarterback that you thought you were getting.
Yeah.
It's
possible. It's possible. I mean, maybe he ends up at Oregon and they have enough around him and they already have a system built out and he's willing to do some things that he wasn't willing to do here. And it's onward and upward that is a real possibility. But by the way, that maybe that's a point worth talking about for the next 5 minutes or so here. The Dylan Raiola to Oregon stuff. Like I don't know. I don't know what you know about the entire situation, but feels like that is where the arrow is pointed at this point with him.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of reports over the weekend. I mean, there's been rumblings about this, but I had largely wondered if it could come to that because I know he'd been so tied to Adidas, Oregon famously a Nike school. So I wondered if he was limited in what he wanted to do, but obviously NIL contracts, who knows if they hold up in any way, shape, or form. Or if there's out clauses to it, or if it was tied only to Adidas because he was at Nebraska or whatever it was. So if he ends up at Oregon, I don't understand the fit really because he and Dante Moore don't strike me as the same type of quarterback.
Yeah.
But, maybe they would be better at building an offense that fits around what he's good at. I do think there's real conversations about if you look through 2 years, what would you say the best thing that Dylan Raiola was?
It's a great question. It's the first thing that came to my head. I don't know what he's good at.
And I would probably say at some point it was minimizing downfield mistakes.
Well, that's definitely true.
But then that also minimizes downfield action and impact.
Yeah.
So
minimizing lots of things.
It's just going to be fascinating how it all plays out, and it's not going to be a one-to-one comparison for anybody. If Nebraska plays great, there's enough other things that have swapped out. If Dylan plays great in a different situation, there's enough things that have been swapped out. We're never going to have any sort of actual clarity or answer on this. But I'll put it this way. I probably have more confidence in the idea that Dylan goes somewhere else and he's a 5-star quarterback than I do that Nebraska's offense is going to be scoring 35 points a game next year.
Okay, 35 might be aggressive.
31?
But which looks better?
Well, around here, if
which
they
looks
just
better?
Scored 4 touchdowns a game, they would be very good in the Big Ten.
No, I'm saying which looks better next year? Dylan Raiola or Nebraska? Nebraska's offense.
I would bet on Dylan.
Interesting. I don't
even know what team he's going to play for.
Let's just assume it's Oregon.
Yeah.
For the sake of this conversation, let's assume it's Oregon, which helps him, obviously, because it's Oregon.
Yes, a lot more talent.
It ever so slightly, yes. Ever so slightly, I think I agree with you. But it's not by much.
Really?
I don't know. I maybe it's just getting, became pretty stale and sour at stale and sour. I don't know how you're both at the same time, but stale and sour.
Someone's figured out how to be stale and sour
for Dylan Raiola. And I think, first of all, there had to be like this admission of he probably wasn't as good point blank period as everybody thought he was. There's definitely talent there, and there's certainly plenty of untapped talent for Dylan Raiola. So I think that's where you go there. But also, I just don't know where his head's at. I don't know where his head's at going into this entire thing. Is he going to, let's just say it's Oregon. Is he going to Oregon thinking, well, Nebraska, did me wrong and they didn't do this and this and this for me and they didn't put me in the right position, which I think to a certain extent is true. But if that is your only worldview, if that is your only viewpoint, it neglects all of the responsibility, at least some of the responsibility that he should be taking and how it went wrong.
Do you think that when we talk about Dylan and we talk about him in that sense, what we really are talking about is Dom?
Maybe.
Because I don't know that Dylan has a lot of the same, and
I'm not
maybe
sure.
he does.
I'm not sure.
There's no way for any of us to know.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a part of this where the fresh start for him probably helps. You're not going to be at your dad's alma mater. You're probably not going to have to be in a savior complex situation. But you still got to go perform. Wherever he goes, the expectation is going to be he has to go perform.
Yeah, no doubt.
It has to look better than it did at Nebraska.
Well, and there's a reason, if the Oregon stuff is true, there's a reason why Oregon would take a chance on him. So
which is interesting because I don't even recall them being involved in his recruitment
I don't know.
previously. It was USC, it was Georgia.
Is it possible that this is all just from, because I think it would be a great thing for him to be at Oregon, there's no doubt about that. If Oregon was good with that, they would have probably had to hear from him and his side, his conglomerate, his family, and hear the right things would be my guess. Because it's not like Oregon wouldn't have any options for quarterbacks on the board. So I don't know.
Do you believe any part of the report that if Dante Moore came back, Dylan would be good sitting for a year?
Somebody asked me, somebody from Oregon texted me and they were like, do you think that would actually happen? And I couldn't give him a straight answer. I was like, I don't know.
He didn't go to Georgia, the best team in the country, because he would have to redshirt as a true freshman.
But what if this whole thing has been like a come to Jesus moment, Or what if, how about this? What if the market was so bad on him, which I hadn't heard anything else about him after the Louisville thing. What if the market was so bad on him that he felt like that was one of his only options that was on the table?
It's interesting because the market for quarterbacks in general is so soft that I don't think it would have been difficult for him to find a landing spot.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean,
I didn't hear anything though.
There's now the sick and twisted part of me wonders if Dylan were to go sit out a year and then have a monster year, if then that leads to a whole conversation of actually transfer players should spend a year with a program before they get put in position to be the most successful versions of themselves.
Maybe Dylan Raiola can
and then
change
the older
college football.
That's what it used to be.
That would be awesome. And then the NCAA would say, you know what, this is a great idea. And then they delete automatic eligibility for transfers. What a great idea.
And then the court systems all decide that they're going to be as conservative as possible and agree with the NCAA.
Thank you, Dylan Raiola. You have saved college football in that situation.
Look at him.
All right, let's take a break. We'll talk more Nebraska football, what they had last week in the portal, what they added last week in the portal. And there's still this week left, and people are getting antsy about that whole defensive lineman thing. So Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska will be our first ever guest on Happer and Schaefer after this.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. I'm Connor Happer. That's Mike Schaefer. That's Joey Colbert. This is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Thanks for being with us today on our Maiden Voyage. Well, somebody had to do it. Somebody had to say yes to be the first guest on Happer and Schaefer Happer and Schaefer Part 2 history, I suppose. And that man is Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska. Tim, hello. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for being the first one through the fire. Appreciate you.
Of course. How we doing, guys?
We're good. Schaefer wanted to talk recruiting.
Yes.
Because he missed it so much.
I had to get back to my roots.
I mean, we're going to talk about. So, are you in San Antonio still?
No, I made it back last night.
Okay, all right. We'll get to your weekend in San Antonio and what you experienced this weekend, but let's go to the big stuff in the portal first here. So, I mean, it ended up being a pretty productive sort of finish to the week there for Nebraska. We haven't recapped the entire thing yet. Are adding a lot in the defensive secondary was that on your bingo card as you went into this thing and planned it out beforehand?
Not this much. I kind of figured they'd make one or two additions, seeing now 3 in total. Bit of a surprise, and I mean, honestly, as the week progressed, we got deeper into the week, and Victor Evans popped up on campus, and I knew they were lining up a couple more visits or had their eyes on a couple more guys. I thought it was going to end up being one of Shiggs or Evans. Seeing both, I think, tells you about what they think of both those guys, and maybe a little bit of what they're trying to add to the defense. Both guys are long, rangy, good, just well-rounded defenders that can play multiple positions. And I think you see that from all 3 of the additions. I think McDougall as well, very well-rounded defensive back prospect. But I think at this point, McDougall's the one that I would say is like the surefire starter addition. The other 2 are going to compete for snaps, no doubt, but I don't think it's as much of a sure thing. Those guys are starting, first game of the season.
Is it also sort of a surprise when you factor in that Tarver and Prude both came back as well? So that the secondary room, which kind of been bloated under Matt Rule the entire time, they just continue to add more bodies.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. Tarver coming back, I thought kind of signaled something about where what they felt about the DB market and what they were going to do, and so to see them add 2 more that I think, I think Larry Tarver's a versatile guy that can play a couple of different spots in the secondary, and to add 2 more guys in Evans one at least in Evans, who I think can do a lot of that as well, is really interesting. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they really want competition there, and this staff wants deep rooms everywhere, and I know people, I do it as well, of just like there's a lot of bodies in the DB room. Like, I think it says something those guys keep coming back, and they've maintained that depth as long as they have at this point.
Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska is with us. Added Andy Berberia from Iowa Western on the defensive line, and then Anthony Jones, of course, from UCLA, the journeyman defensive lineman. There, got a couple guys back, still a younger room. Is that for sure the number one thing that's setting up for Nebraska this week in the portal? Defensive line help, especially now that you're rumored to, of course, have a new defensive line coach.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's just kind of where the needs are and where you're at this point with 13 transfers plus the JUCO transfer up to 14 additions. There's only really a handful of spots remaining. There's only like a handful. Like, there's only so much. They have limited room to operate with here, and I think I fully expect them to hone in on the defensive line, likely the interior of the defensive line, and then you look at running back as well. But defensive line is the big point of emphasis at this point. And I noted it. I put up a story this morning on just what's left for Nebraska. The most recent wave of portal entries along the defensive line has seen some new names emerge where, Nebraska, had a few guys on campus early, aimed for a couple other guys, and weren't able to get those guys on campus. Some of the more recent entries I think have higher floors and arguably even higher ceilings than some of those early guys that were in the portal.
So you mentioned, a couple new names. Dylan Berryman is one of them, and then you also wrote about Jasir Whittington as well. Just a couple guys who are sort of on the radar at this point. How fast? Like, give us a sense, Tim, of how fast this sort of moves. Not only with these guys, but also potential new names that could like immediately just hop on the radar and then bang, they're here and they're committed all in the next 4 days before the portal ends.
Right. Yeah. So I'll say this. So, I mean, one, I think you're going to see commitments last through the portal close. Like, I mean, guys won't be able to enter the portal after the 16th, but pretty much until Nebraska or whatever program says, this is the last day you can enroll, you're going to see commitments. And so I think this next weekend is going to be another big one for Nebraska, even though the portal closes technically on Friday. But yeah, this stuff moves quick. I mean, Whittington is a perfect example. Enter the portal Friday morning, 4 hours later, he's on a plane to Nebraska. It just moves really quick. And, as he got to Nebraska, immediately lined up a visit to Baylor. And now is in a dead period. He's going to sit down and either consider these two options or wait and see what else and see if he can make a couple more visits coming out of this short little dead period we have sandwiched into the portal window. But yeah, there's a couple of the names. I mean, the staff is already monitoring. I keep an eye on a couple of Big Ten tackles that have entered. You've seen some movement out of Oregon. You've seen some movement out of Washington, Ohio State as well. I could see Nebraska sniffing around those guys just because, again, they need talent and they have an opportunity here to offer playing time in a way that some of these other like specifically, I think an Oregon can't right now with so much defensive line, so many D-line guys returning for them. Amari Washington, Mateo Uiagalelei, both announced they're returning next season. So you saw some younger guys in that D-line room move on.
Tim, with Corey Brown's name emerging as a guy at defensive line, do you think there's any players that potentially become targets specifically because of him as a position coach for Nebraska?
Potentially, just based on prior relationships. But it also, that's something I'm still waiting to figure out. I know I asked around about, some of his guys in Miami, Ohio, and I'm expecting a lot of those guys to stick around there. A lot of those guys are signed. They're happy at the level they're playing at. But I did have some conversations with some trainers over the weekend, down in Texas, down in just this Midwest part of the country, and they speak highly of him, and I think that matters. Again, he hasn't had to win any of these big boy recruitments just yet, but trainer relationships, as that stuff matters. These guys are the trainers. To show, I think the best way to put it is, you earn a lot of goodwill when you're at like a group of five or lower level program, and you consistently show love to a trainer in a hotbed or whatever. And as that talent develops, and you're not going to be able to get those top end guys that trainer has, but you make your way up the ladder. All of a sudden, it's like, well, I appreciate your loyalty over these years. Now, here, we're going to give you a shot at this guy. Like, we'll make sure we get this guy up to campus now that you're up at this Power 4 school. So I think you were to see his impact here in the next couple of months. It may not be immediate here in the portal, but I will say I do think it'll help Nebraska's ability to attract talent to campus now that they have a coach in line. I mean, that was an issue very early, like once the portal opened. I heard from multiple agents that Nebraska was very competitive in the defensive tackle market very early on, but we're just not able to get certain guys to campus because there was just not a whole lot of clarity on what was, and Nebraska didn't have the production that some of the other schools in the mix were. But Nebraska was very competitive, even had like for some of those guys like market setting offers. So it's not a lack of resources that's impacting him here. It really is just having a guy in place. Now that they have that guy in place, I think, you're going to see some D linemen pop through campus here at the end of the week.
Any buzz about Nebraska in San Antonio this weekend? I mean, obviously, Ahmad Hudson, Danny Odom, I think, was another guy that was there. Claude Puma was there. Like, what was sort of the buzz on those guys this weekend?
Yeah, so it was really good to see. I think for me, Odom has shined against national competition for the last year on the 7-on-7 circuit, and even he played a national high school schedule this fall. But you seeing him up against some of these top national like senior and junior receivers was really good. And I thought specifically we got to see him match up a couple of times with Chris Henry Jr., number one receiver in the country, headed to Ohio State, son of Chris Henry, 6'5", like dominant, like, ball winner. And, he had some flash plays of his own. It wasn't on Odom, but Wednesday housed the screen from like 60, 65 yards out, where it's like, again, a guy that size should not be doing stuff like that. But getting to see Odom go up against him time and time again and not really let up and hold his own, not really hold up a reception, and use his length the way he did, that's a guy that's going to come in and compete for a starting job, like, when he arrives on campus. So I think Odom's one of those, like, rare freshman corners specifically. You see freshman safeties contribute. Freshman corners, it's somewhat rare to see him at the very top end. You've seen it a little more as of late, but I think Odom, just with his length, is what he's done to this point in his career. I think his competitiveness more than anything. He's fiery, man. And like, again, this is an all-star showcase. I mean, Mike, you've covered these before. Like, the practices aren't always like, they don't really get into it in practice. And Danny on Wednesday, like, almost elevated the physicality. Just like, he thumped a guy to the sideline, picked up a running back and dragged him to the sideline, like, blew up a screen. Like, he's a physical corner, and Nebraska's kind of like, Nebraska has that right now in Donnie Jones and Andrew Marshall, who are plenty physical. Danny's got all of that physicality to him, and he's exceptionally sticky in coverage. So really good to see him. And Puma, it's going to take a little time just because he's football young. I have to keep reminding people that, like, he's 2 years into the position. He played football for the first time as a junior in high school. But he's got exceptional footwork. And everyone I talked to was drooling over his traits. I mean, this is a guy that measured in at 6'5". When he started playing high school football as a junior, he was 260 pounds. Now he's closing in on 340 pounds. He's got just about a 6'11" wingspan, 11-inch hands, like monster features. And so this is a guy that, like, from an SEC standpoint, from a college football standpoint, this is what everyone's looking for. And this is a guy that can play left tackle, like, has the footwork to play left tackle, grew up playing soccer, has exceptional footwork. It's just a matter of technique for him, because that's obviously something, technique specifically in pass protection, and the body strength has to improve. I think that's something that popped up this week was you saw guys that can turn speed to power specifically, and some of these power rushers, these squattier type edge rushers, they could get into him a little bit, but he held his own. I think he does have a pretty good anchor. There's a whole lot to work with, and for a guy that I think is going to be something of a slow burn, this isn't a Grant Bricks like slow burn where he's got to completely learn how to, like, pass protect. This is a really smart kid. I told Schaefer this week, but like he's learned, he's learned 3 languages. He's learning a 4th. And he's just a really smart kid, really, really active, and really committed to his development. As a basketball player, he's really committed there. As a football player, he's really committed. So he's going to be a guy that, it's going to take a year or so, maybe longer, for him to get to a point where he's ready to play and contribute at the Big Ten level, just from a technique standpoint. But I wouldn't surprise me at all if he ends up ahead of his timeline, just because of where he's at mentally.
As is often the case, Nebraska basketball doing the heavy lifting with Ahmad Hudson, so the football team can enjoy the spoils. Is that what I understand, Tim?
I mean, yeah, like it's a 50-50 recruitment for sure. But yeah, like at this point, like the Nebraska basketball is really catching his attention on top of the consistent effort from the football staff. I mean, they've pitched him and sold him on a roll on the football side of things. But it really, I think for him, seeing the basketball team have the success they're having, just the way Nebraska uses their bigs and the way Nebraska spreads the ball out. He's a guy that he's tall. He's 6'7", and I think honestly this weekend he said he measured it north of that. So he's getting bigger, but as a junior in Ruston, Louisiana, has to play center out of necessity. That's not what he wants to do long term. That's not what he wants to be at the next level. He wants an opportunity to showcase what he can do in space, what he can do, off the dribble and how he can shoot and do some of that stuff. And so far Nebraska's shown him they'll put him in those opportunities. They'll give him those opportunities. He's really excited about what he's seeing from them. He's going to be on campus later this month to see his first game at PVA. which he's really excited about. Yeah, I'll have a feature story on him tomorrow on just everything football, basketball, everything Nebraska related with him. But Nebraska doing a lot of the right things there. And again, what looms here is going to be the basketball side of this. Everyone knows LSU is the program to beat, but LSU is not offered in basketball just yet. And there's a feeling on both sides it's inevitable. But you're at the point now where he's actually getting recruited by other programs in basketball, like truly recruited by other programs in basketball in addition to football. And the longer LSU waits this out, the harder I think. I mean, it'll just put some questions into Hudson's mind and the family of just like, okay, how serious is this program about wanting us to stay home? He's very close with his family. That's going to matter here. But Nebraska is doing a lot of the right things to overcome the distance at this point.
Awesome. Looking forward to the feature, Tim. Appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for sticking your head out there, being the first guest here on Happer and Schaefer.
Yeah, of course.
All right, that's Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska. You can check out his excellent work. He's got the scoops. He's got
the scoops.
We should call him Mr. Scoops.
I mean, we could. There's a reason
Scoopsy
why at the end I was happy to not be involved in recruiting anymore. Tim just soared past wherever I was at.
Yeah,
at the end
he is in it.
Yeah, he's dynamite.
He is in it. So that will continue. Not that was like any sort of he's going to be a weekly guest on the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I didn't just decide that now, by the way. That was decided before.
Oh, okay. This wasn't a tryout?
No, that was not a tryout.
Oh, so I should tell Tim he might have to come back on Mondays?
Tim will be back. Michael Brunt's still set to join us in the 9 o'clock hour. We will return, round out the 8 o'clock hour here on the on the Happer Schaefer. Sorry. Hey, that's going to keep happening from time to time, by the way, on 1620 The Zone.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
This week's Zone Deal is to Langfeld Overhead Doors. Get a $600 LiftMaster garage opener for just
$300. That is with our Zone Deal this week, on sale Friday at 9, 1620thezone.com. Got a chance to watch two top 5 women's basketball teams yesterday in UCLA and UConn. The teams Creighton and Nebraska were on the losing sides of both of those by significant margins on both sides. But did you hear Schaefer, UCLA basketball coach Corey Close, say that she had breakfast with Matt Rule yesterday? Everybody knows Matt Rule. She was like, they're great friends. And they went to breakfast yesterday.
That's fantastic.
Breakfast with Matt. I wonder where they went. I wonder what they ate. I have a lot of follow-up questions that we didn't get answered last night because I was coming home.
Unlike football, basketball teams probably stay in actual Lincoln. Like football teams usually stay at the embassy or whatever over in Papillion.
Yeah, it would not make any sense.
So they were probably downtown.
Certainly.
And then where would they have gone for breakfast?
I don't know. Like the
Matt Green Gateau is where I would send people to breakfast, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good one. Matt Rule. Do you think Matt Rule came all the way out from? Well, I guess he was probably at the office.
I would assume he was there on a
busy
old Sunday
football stadium. Yeah,
directing traffic as they're just bringing everybody in.
But look at that. He found however much time in his very, very busy time of the year.
Where would he have went for breakfast?
But the only thing we're curious about is where he went for breakfast.
Well, all the good breakfast spots in Lincoln are famously not downtown. The Green Gateau is like the best one that's down there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. You would know better than me.
Yeah, well, and like I said, they're kind of just sporadically. It'd be great, Tina's is closed on a Sunday, so they wouldn't have went to Tina's.
Tipsy Tina's is closed on a Sunday?
No, there's a Tina's Cafe.
Oh, dear God.
They make massive cinnamon rolls the size of your head.
Every year when the season changes, like I'll take like several months off from being in Lincoln. And then every time that happens, I'll drive into Lincoln again and the whole town will be different.
Tina's is like a 20-year establishment. I'm just saying,
there's a hotel, the building that was previously there is now gone and it's been replaced by another building. Maybe no idea
they went to Highway Diner and they just stood in line for a little bit.
Now that would be funny.
Matt Rule's the Highway Diner type. Virginia's, perhaps they ended up. You probably never went to any breakfast place.
Jordan says Highway Diner. Alex says Green Gateau is pretty bomb. I did go to Green Gateau. I went to Green Gateau's
great.
Cultiva's
solid.
Yeah, but the only reason I'm not saying anything here is because I don't know which ones exist anymore.
You could name them. I'll tell you if they exist.
What about Virginia's?
Still exists.
What about the one over
Penelope's?
Yeah, Penelope's
still exists.
What about the one that we went that was over kind of where we lived when we lived in Lincoln? We lived near each other.
Cook's Cafe.
Different
Cafe location exists.
Okay, good. Maybe they went to any of those places.
Yeah, they're all good.
Okay.
There's good breakfast spots. My Highway or not Highway.
Bruce
Engine
said,
House.
Bruce
Did
said
you ever
Highway
get
9.
the Engine House in Havelock?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
That's a popular one.
You were a frequenter of Havelock, that's for sure.
Oh, I liked Havelock a lot.
VJ writes in at Happer and Schaefer, by the way, on Twitter.
Hey, someone tweeted at us.
Parfait, avocado toast, steak and eggs.
What do we think Corey Close and Matt Rule had for breakfast? John says, isn't there a good breakfast place in Ashland? Oh, I'm sure Ashland's popping right now.
I would assume a breakfast burrito is his go-to.
Ashland is cooking at the moment.
Ruhlman's probably has a great brunch. Maybe they met at Ruhlman's. Someone just drove her out.
Isn't that the new steakhouse?
Yeah.
See, I need to get back out and start going to restaurants. I've learned.
You might be able to do.
I have a chance to do so. My whole day is just empty.
There could be a whole thing built around restaurants bring in Connor Happer for lunch because he's not been able to do this for 5 years.
What an interesting opportunity for those restaurants and for me.
Yeah, this sounds great.
I love this. I love this idea. Okay, so that's what I found myself wondering about last night. But it was good to see some legends of the game. One of the legends of the game in Omaha this weekend, Rick Pitino. All right.
I thought you were going with Gino.
All right, so we have to take a couple minutes to talk about Creighton real quick.
Oh, okay.
This is not. Oh, are you gonna step aside? And
No.
Okay, good.
It was on the television. I do live with someone that was, attended Creighton games and everything else.
I can't really remember very many times where they just got absolutely bodied at home like that.
Last year in November against Nebraska,
it was not that bad.
Ryan Kalkbrenner didn't score.
It was not that bad.
I don't know. Their best player in a long time. Okay, sorry. This is more Creighton.
It was not that bad. St. John's got whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, and Creighton couldn't get anything inside.
It's starting to sound like November of 24.
Some of this is obviously St. John's. If they're making threes, they're going to be really, really hard to beat. And
how have they struggled as much as they have? That was sort of the question that I had looking at.
They're not a super consistent offensive team.
Okay.
But Creighton didn't. They did not apply much pressure in that situation.
Not really Creighton's game.
No, it's not. And so So on one hand, it's them, right? It's a bad matchup for Creighton and all these other things. Also on that side of the ledger, like it's the third game in 6 days, and I think that was one of the talking points after the game. Everybody was just not quite there. On the other hand, we have all these bad feelings from the beginning part of the year, and when it's bad, it's bad. And I wish they could do I wish they could do like one thing consistently, right? Whether it's a player performance or a shot they're able to get or whatever it might be. And you're just back into this feeling like it's just uncharted territory for Creighton fans, because they don't know what to expect. And I do think part of it, there's been some conversation about what it sounds like and what it looks like inside the arena for these games over this season. And I think some of it is just the inconsistency of what you feel like you're going to get when you go in and watch the basketball team, especially if it doesn't get off to a good start. And it didn't get off to a good start on Saturday, but then they came back. It didn't get off to a good start. And it's just I don't know, maybe I'm back to really not liking this team. So I think it's been difficult for people to sort of buy into it that way. They're in a tricky spot. I don't mean to do this whole pinball roller coaster thing where it's maybe they have a chance to get second or third place in the Big East, all the way back to they suck again and there's no chance they ever make the NCAA tournament. That's certainly not the case, but that does mirror their inconsistency a little bit.
How much is it from the fan perspective that you've sort of had a guy in Kalkbrenner that had been there for they've had the similar cast of characters, and now you're sort of starting over with that. You don't have
100%.
You have Jason Green, you have Isaac Trout, you have some local guys that have been around, but you don't have the guys that have sort of been the backbone of your program, and you're having to build that up.
That's 100%.
You're in this portal era where you have the mercenaries, and they haven't been quite what you expected. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, well, some of them, yeah.
Specifically one of them.
Yeah, right.
So, and I'll be dead honest about this. As high as I was about Nebraska basketball coming into the year, I thought, especially over the spring and into the summer, that Creighton was set up with what they brought in. I thought it was just going to be this seamless transition, that you were going to have Josh Dix just dropping bombs all over the Big East and everything else, and it just hasn't been that.
No.
And so, for however correct I might have been about Nebraska, I was dead wrong on what this Creighton team is.
Yeah, it's you're right. You nailed it. It's the piece where there's just a lot of turnover, and there's so many different guys that are coming in and out of lineups. And
I was just looking at the box score, and they went deep. Obviously, in a game where you're getting blown out, that's going to happen.
But there's
I don't
been
think
injuries.
they have any idea who their best five is. How much did that Hudson Greer injury throw off what they wanted to look like for a large portion?
That did, I think, at the time, because at the time he was trending toward being
very
able
good
to start.
When they took the red shirt off and he came right in and played in Vegas.
Yeah, and like I said, by the time that the middle of the Vegas trip happened, it looked like he was one of the best guys on the floor, and then he was out for a month, right after that. And so I think that's a piece of this equation. You're dealing with, all right, how long are we going to wait for this to work? versus how bad can we sort of let it get. You did the whole thing with moving Ty Davis into the starting lineup and Graves, and like Graves is playing better basketball now, but you still like Ty's energy, and so you're playing all these different guys, and you're I mean, identity, I guess, is a word that comes up here just because it's not the connective piece right now, and I just don't think people are quite used to that at this moment from watching them over the years.
Is there also the element of this, and not to just tie it back to Nebraska, but like, so when they played Creighton and McDermott talked afterwards, you could tell there's like this sort of jealousy in his voice of that Nebraska's guys have an idea of what their roles are. It feels like you're into this point in January, and Creighton still doesn't have defined roles for who is what as you're in the middle of conference.
I think so. Yeah, that's a lot of it. But once again, it's you're moving guys in and out of lineups and stuff, and so it's been difficult for them to find
to find the spark.
And the problem is, like, you're in this league where point blank period, you have to be tough, and that's one of the traits of like the connectivity piece. It sort of breeds this like toughness.
Yeah.
And it's a game by game thing. I think we're literally in a game by game, situation right now, and we'll see what it looks like every time they sort of go out there.
Do you think right now, today, is Creighton going to accept an appearance in the Crown because they know what that can do for a team?
Yeah.
They're going to use the Crown to galvanize themselves?
Yeah, then maybe they'll start the season undefeated next year.
That's what history has told us. That's what happens.
They'll go on like a 20.
They have to win the Crown.
They'll go on like a 25-game winning streak, and then win the national championship next year. Nebraska national championship this year. Creighton national championship.
It's going to be hard
year.
for them to be undefeated. They will have Nebraska on their schedule next year.
All right, let's take a break. We will come back 9 o'clock hour. Have a quick segment, and we'll talk to Michael Bruntz at 9:15. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, the sun is up. It's been up for a little while, but I watched the sunrise today. That's different for me.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't watch the sunrise.
What time were you getting up normally?
7.
And you never.
I must not have been looking out the window.
Oh, well, I guess
You're
there's a
facing
difference
east.
in that. Like prior to today, I was the one always taking our child to daycare,
Yeah.
and so we would, you wander out of the house and there's the sun right there looking right at you.
Yeah.
So I would see it every morning. So
Yeah, we keep the kid
Yeah.
around, and wherever she waddles to.
we're outsourcing. Outsource.
I will
Probably
say,
smart.
I will say I'm glad I'm not driving into the sunshine in the mornings.
That is true.
That is a benefit.
Another positive.
You come in the cover of darkness and you leave in the light.
That is excellent. And the lunch places will just be opening
They'll be opening for you.
when I leave.
This really needs to be a thing that you do. Like every week, Happer discovers lunch. Like that's what this
What's
needs
for
to
lunch?
I love lunch. What's for lunch?
be. Oh, people will love that.
Yeah, they already love what's for dinner so much. What's for lunch would be incredible.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
We have to decide. We have an award to give away here. Who won the weekend?
Yeah,
Once
weekend
again,
winners.
We're gonna
weekend winners.
We're gonna play around with this one. Yeah, weekend winners, man of the weekend, something like that. We'll come up with a snazzy title for it or something like that. But we'd like to give out some awards here. The Emmys were last night, right?
The Golden Globes, I think.
Golden Globes. I don't know my award shit.
I don't pay attention to them. I had friends texting about it.
My wife, because she knows me, she sent me a picture of, well, maybe actually, you know what? Let me say that. Let me go this way. My man of the weekend, my winner of the weekend is Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. I've always loved Josh Allen. I guess after like his first or second year in the NFL, after like I got over the whole, whoa, he's actually a good thing. So my wife sent me a picture of Josh Allen's wife, who appeared at the awards show. The
Golden Globes.
The Golden
Do
Globes.
you know Josh Allen's wife's name?
Haley Steinfeld.
There we go.
And she is pregnant. And my wife sent that picture to me and said, that's Josh Allen's wife. And I said, I know. And that's part of the reason why Josh Allen is my man of the weekend. Thank you, Josh Allen. Appreciate it.
I'll dovetail off of that with the NFL won the weekend. Obviously, the games were great.
The NFL
right?
was so good.
Here's how they really won, though. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills winning on Sunday was enormous because they don't have those other name brand quarterbacks, really. And you could argue, like,
It's the
well,
reason why I picked him.
Isn't this isn't this what the NFL wants to create new? Well, no, there would be nothing bigger than for the Bills to make this run to the Super Bowl, for Josh Allen to sort of Herculean carry this team that is not nearly as good as they've had in the past.
It's just Josh Allen.
But they're still the most interesting team, even as a 6 seed out of everybody. I mean, you have the Broncos that are doing it, but they're doing it with a bunch of buts. You have the Seahawks where everybody's waiting for Sam Darnold to take a dump because that's what he's supposed to do. You have the Bears with, a young Caleb Williams who's fascinating. You have Brock Purdy. They didn't play that well and their teams advanced. The other quarterbacks in their games threw for like a combined 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and the Packers and Eagles are going home. It is a weird year in the NFL. And so what do they want more than anything? Close, exciting games and the Bills to go as far as they humanly can.
That's what I want.
That's what I want.
I want to see how I want to see how far Josh Allen can take him.
Than to see them be in the Super Bowl. One, so we'd stop hearing about how he's come up short because they put a graphic up on. You couldn't have seen this.
I'm
They
sick
had a
of
graphic
seeing.
on CBS. He's like the best at everything.
I
That
know.
played quarterback in the playoffs.
And I'm sick of seeing sad Josh Allen after he loses to Patrick Mahomes every year.
He can't now.
I know.
No excuses.
There is that too. So there is some.
Here's the
stakes
other
to
reason they
this.
won. There was like 3 different times where it looked like he might be hurt yesterday, and you had the whole, oh my gosh,
This is not happening.
if we have to watch Mitchell Trubisky come in here to lead the Bills and Josh Allen is out, this is terrible. Nobody wants
It would be really, really bad for the narratives.
Yeah.
Really, really bad for the narratives. So they go on the road next week to Denver to play the Denver, as some people call them, Broncos, in Denver, and then we'll have Josh Allen just taking on an entire team all by himself. The Rams-Bears game is going to be so good. The Niners-Seahawks game is going to be so good. And then whoever plays the Patriots is that'll probably
I
be
think
fun
Texans
too.
Patriots would be a very entertaining game.
Very
Steelers
low
Patriots, I am not nearly as interested.
We are looking at back-to-back weekends of just like pure this is excellent stuff that we have on our hands. And so I'd say the real winner of the weekend was us.
It was us all along.
We all won.
I wouldn't consider myself.
Yeah, Joey.
I would have to make the comment. I wouldn't consider myself
The loser of the weekend.
in
Joey
certain areas. In certain areas,
You were excited to watch the football, but you were
I was so excited at halftime. Then it was pretty predictable in the second half what happened.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was a Panthers fan. I was broken up about what happened at the end of the game to the Panthers, going ahead with 2.5 minutes against the Rams at home as a sub 500 team. I was so happy. It was the first
another
time
quarterback
in
who
my life.
played poorly this weekend, like Stafford, until that final drive, really pedestrian.
Yeah.
Final drive, the opposite of like the version of Matt Stafford where you're like, oh, that's why he was a former #1 pick. That's why he's a future Hall of Famer. That's how they won a Super Bowl.
And then on the last ditch effort there for Carolina after the Rams scored the go-ahead touchdown, like I thought Bryce Young, I mean, he kind of made some throws. The last
He
one
gave them
obviously
chances.
got dropped.
He gave them chances.
And then
He
the
needed
other
to
one
put it
was
a
just-
little bit further, but
Yeah.
that's still a catchable ball. It
Yeah.
hit off his leg.
I know. And the other one, I think it was on the third down play before that, he threw it just ever so slightly over a guy's head, and he's running for a while. Like, I don't know. There's some reason to be excited about Bryce Young and the Panthers going
I think they have
forward.
a pretty good coach.
It seems like they might have a pretty good coach.
And then it's fascinating. The Panthers, the Jaguars each have the former offensive coordinators for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Bucks could have used those guys this year.
They were a
Like
mess.
Cohen, the Jags, he's going to be good.
You think so?
The Jags are going to be very good next year.
Joe writes in on Twitter. He says, yeah, it's just Josh Allen all by himself. Oh, yeah, and NFL leading rusher James Cook. Is there any chance that Mahomes could also get no help if that is the case? If that's the case we're talking about.
Was James Cook a big factor in yesterday's game, Joey?
I did not watch a whole lot of
did
the
you
game.
abstain from football after
No,
Saturday?
I was
You
doing
canceled yourself?
I was doing some production work. for
15
the show.
carries, 46 yards yesterday.
I
for
figured
Josh
he would be
Allen, 11
effective.
carries, 33 yards. They had almost the same average.
They ran it 26 times for 79 yards, and they threw it 35
I'm not
times.
even, and James Cook is very good. I'm not really disputing the point he's making, but I will say he wasn't even the most important person whose last name starts COOK. Brandon Cooks, who they just signed like a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago, is already maybe their most important downfield threat as a wide receiver.
Josh Allen either completed a pass through an incomplete pass or ran the ball 46 out of the 61 offensive plays for Buffalo yesterday. So yeah, I do think it is a little bit of kind of just him. Before we get to Brunts here, here's some breaking news from who is this? Matt Zenitz.
Who is it?
Who
Who's breaking our news?
I never know where these people work anymore. Oregon has landed a commitment of former Nebraska. Here's what it says. Oregon has landed a commitment, former Nebraska star quarterback Dylan Raiola. Sources tell me and Chris Hummer. I feel like there's like a couple words at least missing in there, but Dylan Raiola appears headed to Oregon. What?
There he
Great
goes.
question, Joey. I don't know.
That's this isn't what I would have predicted, but
We had a little bit
I
of
am fascinated to
I
see
know.
how it plays
we,
out.
We had a little bit of a discussion earlier on I don't think either of us have a great sense of how it's going to work or what it's going to look like here, but that will certainly be a situation that people will be watching, especially if Nebraska is bad.
Well, and you know who's on the schedule next year? Nebraska goes to Oregon.
Oh my gosh.
So that'll be a fun week.
I didn't even think about that. to be honest with you. But partly because the Big Ten hasn't even released their stupid schedule yet, other than who they're playing. They should probably do that. It's January. The SEC did it a month ago.
I did the work for them.
Yeah, Joey's already got it. Just put it out there.
It is annoying to me how much better the Big Ten is at a lot of things, and yet how awful they are at some of the easy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Star Wars Fiend writes it on YouTube. He says, "I wish Oregon came here. What would it sound like?"
Well, who knows if he's doing the sit out year to save college football.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be in Lincoln in 2027.
It's great. I forgot about that awesome plan that we put together for Dylan to save college football.
Here's how to save college football.
But what would it sound like if Dylan Raiola were to play at Nebraska next year? Which he will not, for the record, because he'll be playing at Oregon.
It would be...
Oh, it'd be heavy booze, right?
Yeah, but you don't know if those boos are for him or for the fact that Nebraska could be getting blown out of their own stadium.
Yeah, I suppose you're
And
right.
Matt Rule said he wanted more booing.
You're right. You're right. Maybe they'd listen to him in that situation.
Initially, I would expect a lot of boos. This is a place that booed Chucky Hepburn, who wasn't even really allowed to go to Nebraska.
But don't you think it would be like pretty deserved?
Yeah, I mean,
mildly deserved at least.
In so much as, yes, I mean, people voicing their frustration that he left.
Yeah.
It's weird because there's the segment of people that are happy that he's gone, but would you then go boo him? Like, he did what you wanted. He left.
Maybe it'd just be a murmur. Maybe just
that'd be amazing. You have people that are cheering. You're like, why are you cheering for? Well, he left. I'm applauding his decision to leave my team.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice. Enjoy that.
Way to go.
All right, so there you go. Dylan Raiola over to Oregon. Let's take a break. We'll probably hit on that a little bit with Michael Bruntz. Oscar 247 will join us next on 1620 The Zone. But first, just talking a little bit about the playoffs this weekend. Yes, they are here and they continue to roll on, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get those right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So what are you waiting for? There's so many options for you to get in on this weekend. I don't know. Caleb Williams, maybe he's your golden boy at this point. Higher on Caleb Williams this weekend. Download the app today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Promo code HAPPER1620 at Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concern with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you here on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. We are now joined on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our mutual good friend, Michael Bruntz of Husker 247. Hello, Michael.
Hello?
How are you?
Not bad. What's going on?
Nothing. Just hanging out with my dear friend, Mike Schaefer.
Just a normal Monday at
Quite a little
9:20
boring.
in the morning. Nothing unusual about this one. Brunts.
Yeah, I guess not.
Totally normal.
What's going on? I see Dylan's got a destination. Let's
Yeah.
start there.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to be good at Oregon?
I don't know. He's gonna have some talent around him. Like there's still some questions to be answered there, right? Like, do we know what Dante Moore's doing? Like that feels like a pretty key piece to all this.
Yeah. Feels like he's probably going pro, but we came up with the idea
To save college football.
Yeah, so like let's say Dante
Oh.
Moore stays and then Dylan Raiola takes his red shirt,
Famously patient with the Raiola family.
sets up
Yes.
a long line of people who realize finally sitting out is the best thing that you could possibly do, convinces the NCAA to remove the immediate eligibility for transfers somehow. Maybe we skipped a couple steps in there. But basically Dylan Raiola saves college football in this situation.
Oh, that'd be fascinating. Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to see how that would go if he had to sit for a year, or plans to sit for a year. I don't know. I don't know how that would go, but the broken leg thing is a piece of it too, I guess. Where what's his actual availability for any kind of spring?
I don't know. No.
But yeah, I mean that's where he wanted to go, or that was the destination out of the gates. Back to November that was mentioned in connection to him. So I guess he got his wish.
Well, that's not the only quarterback movement, because whenever Raiola's involved, Danny Kalen also happens to be involved as well. Danny Kalen back to Nebraska. What do you make of this? What do you think of Nebraska's quarterback room now with Calandria, Kalen? You assume Latif is still there, and we'll see what else they do, if there's anything else left for Nebraska to do with their quarterback room.
Yeah, I mean, did we kind of reset things to basically like early December 2024? Is that where we're at right now?
Does feel like they hit a reset.
You've got no, you don't say that. You basically have a 1-year transfer. You got Daniel Kalen, and I guess you've also got TJ Latif in there, so you got a little bit more experience. But I mean, that was kind of the picture that Nebraska was trending for in December 2024 before Dylan had his change of heart. But with Daniel Kalen, I mean, I think it's a good move, because you have somebody that's very familiar with the program at large. He had a year with Glenn Thomas, his freshman year there. He was there for several weeks with Dana. I don't know that I would put a ton of stock in that, but I mean, what you basically have is another guy with Power 4 experience that can come in, compete there. I think there's also, from talking to some folks at Virginia, I mean, I think there's still a fair amount of room of development there for him to go too. I mean, it's not like, he's just coming back to kind of be a static quarterback and hold a clipboard. I mean, I think that's, an important piece there that you're adding to that competition. And I mean, the thing you kind of have to remember too, I mean, in the era of transfer portal, where you have guys coming and going, there's a heck of a lot of guys in that locker room still that know Daniel Kalen, and a lot of guys in that locker room that were recruited, essentially peer recruited to Nebraska by Daniel Kalen. I mean, you kind of go down that list. I mean, that was a 30 man recruiting class, and he was the quarterback that put that class together up until the last couple of weeks before everybody signed. So, I think that's kind of an important piece of it too. And I know Matt Rule always had a really strong affinity for Daniel Kalen's character how he kind of fit into everything. So, I think it's when you were kind of setting out the needs for Nebraska before this portal cycle started, you knew you were going to have 2 quarterbacks. And I think, overall, the strength of that room is pretty good right now, considering that you have 3 guys with Power 4 experience. And, it's going to be an interesting competition to see how it all shakes out this spring.
Bruns, which position are you what-abouting more today? Is it what about defensive linemen or what about running backs? Which phrase would you rather say at this point?
Still defensive line. I mean, I think that's still a pretty pressing need. I mean, now you've got, you're trending towards a defensive line coach. You added a JUCO transfer at the defensive line last night, which I think is a really important win for Nebraska. But I think you just need to continue to kind of add depth there and get more bodies. So basically, Nebraska's got about another week or so until they can still get guys into school, and you're going to have to close on a few guys next weekend for sure. And later this week they're in the middle of the 3-day dead period because of the coaches convention. But there's still some work to be done there. I think running back. I don't know. I mean, I think you'd like to bring in a top line starter. Certainly, Marty Brown's the popular name out there down at Miami, and connections there. I mean, he's also close to Daniel Kalen for whatever that's worth too. But I still think it's defensive line though. I mean, that's where you had to get better. And I think there's still guys out there that they can pursue and bring in, even though you're kind of past you're well into the back 9 here of this transfer portal cycle.
Bruns, I know you were probably getting the same questions I heard from people, even though I'm not involved with it in the same way anymore. Nebraska lands someone from Iowa Western. How valuable do you think it is? Just one, the position, the player with Burbia, but also just reopening the door to that relationship at a place that a lot of people around here have really wanted Nebraska to mine more than they have.
Yeah, no, it's an important connection for sure. And, the other piece of it too is, if you can have him show up, in the summer and have success right away too. I mean, I think that's kind of the other piece of it, right? Like, it's one thing to get him. I think if you can kind of be a destination nearby that you can point to and say, look, you can go to Iowa Western, you can have some success there, and then, go on to a place that's really close by and have success there too. I mean, that's an important piece of it, I think, as well, is just being able to, kind of strengthen those ties. But, I don't know. I mean, I'd never gotten the sense that, the door was particularly closed from Iowa Western's point of view. So, I think Nebraska going in there and finding immediate impact guys is important. I mean, I think it's fair to say that, in the way that the portal is now, I mean, junior college recruiting probably gets, on the back burner a little bit. And there's guys that can definitely play down there in the JUCO ranks, and Iowa Western, more than others, has certainly shown that they can produce Power 4 talent and guys that go on to the NFL. So, that was a really important one, I think, to get. And Nebraska too, were they a little bit late there? Maybe a little bit, but they closed strong. Beat out Clemson. Penn State was also sniffing around there. Michigan State, a lot of the schools in the Big Ten that have new coaching staffs and are looking for immediate ads. So that was a good one for Nebraska to get and kind of get some momentum going into this back half here of the recruiting cycle here.
Bruns, BC had a good write-up on your guys' site about potential, looks like definitely new defensive line coach Corey Brown for Miami of Ohio. What do you know about this? And is there any potential, players that could be brought along in that situation, or the impact of adding Corey Brown into that room?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one is just the familiarity with Rob Orich. I think that was when you kind of look at the hires that they've made. I mean, I think, getting guys on that front that kind of understand what he's looking for is really important. I think Roy Manning would probably be doing the defensive ends and the edges, and this is, you know, a little bit more of the traditional defensive line coaching. But, you know, he was a really good developer at multiple stops. So I think it's got to be a little bit of a mix of both, of, you know, not only, you know, a guy that can go out and recruit, but also the development piece of it. I mean, I think that Nebraska had none of those last year, you know, with this defensive line. And I think kind of being able to have a guy that comes in and is able to kind of mold the talent that you have, and especially with the group that they've got now. I mean, you look at, you know, as much as they're trying to add more guys to that room, I mean, it's still young. You know, that there's a lot of growth that needs to happen for guys like Cade Petchock. I would even put Riley Van Poppel in that column as well, as guys that you just got to get more out of. Cam Lenhart probably as well, even though he's been on campus for multiple years. So, you know, when you look at Brown's kind of, development background, you know, unfortunately, he's kind of developed guys that have gone on to other programs and had success in the top 4 ranks. So, you know, I think the timing of it, I'd like to hear a little bit more from Matt Rule about, you know, why it wasn't made sooner, I guess. I mean, I think that would be one question that we need to get some clarity on there. But, you know, he was, you know, talking to Nebraska recruits this weekend, and so, you know, there's at least that piece of it, and they've got somebody in place. But, you know, you look at the track record too of what they did at Miami of Ohio, and they're pretty disruptive up front. So we'll see. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with that one, but at least they've got somebody in that chair, and they can at least point to somebody now as they go out and try to add more to that group.
What is your current opinion on Josh Allen?
Hate him. He's a little scary though.
I was gonna say you sound maybe a little scared of him. I'd say.
Yeah, no, that's fair. A little scared. It feels like he's due for like a Josh Allen type game, which concerns me a little bit. I would have loved to have seen the Chargers instead.
I bet.
Like a lot. Like a ton. But we'll see. You know, I think, you know, being at home helps. I don't know that Buffalo is as good as they've maybe been in the past couple of years. So maybe
They're not.
Me coping a little bit, but I'm hoping we get like Wyoming Josh Allen throwing to Nate Gary, like that version of him versus you know, good Josh Allen.
That happened at least that one time, and then he tried to hand the ball back to him.
That's what I want. I want like Hafunga to like hand the ball back to him after a pick. That's what I want.
Mr. Anti-Josh Allen this week. All right, Brunts. We will let you go. Appreciate you taking the time as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Talk then. Thanks, guys.
Michael Brunts from Husker 247.
Maybe Sean Payton and the Broncos will add Nate Gary to the practice squad this week.
Just as an intimidation factor.
Just to put it in the back of Josh
like
Allen's
obviously Josh Allen is unflappable, but maybe they just find the one guy from his past who just haunts his dreams, and that guy is Nate Gary for some reason.
From a 52-17 blowout.
He threw 5 picks that day, didn't he?
Yeah. No, I honestly think a great sort of, you know, you'd call it like a webisode or a short form video or whatever.
The one time Josh Allen played at Memorial Stadium?
Not that, but like a larger idea of you get professional athletes to tell you about their worst game. Like really good ones. Not like someone who's just okay or whatever. You know, not like JJ McCarthy talking about all of his 2025 season.
All of his games. Yeah.
You know, hey, people that are really good telling you about the time that they were really, really bad. I think that could be an enjoyable experience. Relatable for some.
Yeah, I think so too. That would be really fun, actually. I would love to hear something like that. I don't know if you can get Jordan to talk about when he did bad things, just because he probably wouldn't want to talk about them.
The problem is getting the really successful people to get back in the headspace of when they weren't successful. Seems like it's why they are really successful.
Yeah, they've probably like already flipped it in their mind.
It didn't exist.
Yeah, or they've used it so much as a positive experience that they don't even view it as a negative experience anymore.
Whereas I can still recall with pristine accuracy the time that I gave up back-to-back home runs and a triple off the wall. on like a 5-pitch sequence out in Elkhorn.
And now
in the
that
championship game of a tournament.
now
So,
that motivates you to talk really well about people on the radio.
no, it doesn't motivate me in any way, shape, or form.
It was just a bad time.
I just think about it sometimes. Like, what if I would have pitched better that day?
It was just a bad
We could have
time.
won a title.
All right, let's take a break. But before we do that, I got some Creighton basketball tickets for you guys. So tomorrow the Jays are at home against Georgetown. It is an 8:00 tip. Each show today will have your chance to win your way into the game, and this is your first opportunity. So give us a call, give Joey a call, and what should we have? I'm going for let's do like a keyword here. Yell something in Joey's ear, like a secret passphrase.
McManus?
Perfect. Call Joey right now, 402-951-1620. Be caller number 3 and say McManus to Joey. He does not like this. And you're going
I love you guys.
And you're going to the Creighton game tomorrow.
We're here for one day.
We're back after this on 1620 The Zone.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, nice job, Ryan. He was the third person to call in, and then he yelled McManus in Joey's ear.
I told him to go ahead.
He said, "Go ahead." And then we were over here. I got a story to tell about that in a second, and I could hear it from like halfway across the room. Ryan yelling McManus at Joey Colbert, which is just unbelievable. Well done, Schaefer.
Yeah, look, anytime you can endear yourself to a new coworker on the first day.
He was trying to get him to yell Basaccio, but he couldn't remember the name.
I couldn't remember the name.
The Basaccio.
I was going to
You
say
could just say old
pistachio,
man
it was gonna be
Richard.
bad.
Old man Richard. Or yell Bostic. Brandon Bostic famously botched the onside kick against Seattle
I know
11
that
years
name.
ago.
People forget.
One of the many great NFC championship games of the last 15 years.
Asian Joe says Ray Finkel greater than McManus. Finkel is McManus. Finkel is Einhorn. So here's why we were over here, because we have a whole assortment of food that was brought in for us. Some folks have been very nice today. Some folks have been very mean today, but some folks have been very nice today. I just, we get it on both sides, but there's a couple people who are nice to us. And one of them was Michael Severe, who brought us some stuff from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. And then Josh Hodson, who will save the main piece of this conversation for the crossover, which is going to start in a couple minutes here. But he brought bagels. Okay. He brought that's what you need to know about the story at this point. There is another piece of this story that will be told during the crossover.
Two pieces, really, if you think about it.
Well, there should have been two pieces, but somehow there was only one.
But there still ended up being two pieces.
There did end up being two pieces. All right, so this is we got a few minutes left here. Do you like it, Schaefer? I'm not asking everybody else because I already know your guys' answer. You guys hate us. So just wait until
Give
the
it
end.
some time.
Oh, don't worry. People did not like me at first on Happer show. They're like, "Who is this guy? What is going on here? Bring back X, Y, and Z, and all these other things." And then I'm like, "Dang, these people hate me." And then like a month went by, and we had a nice little community going on. And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That was 4 years ago. And so now we're back. We've reverted back to people hate me. I'm not whatever, and this and this and this and all of us. And this is all new. But like we got here, let me give you an example. We got one comment before who said, let's see. It was something along the lines of like, oh, here it is. I listened to this show for the first hour. No thanks on that new show. I was gonna respond like, well, at least you gave us a chance.
Yeah.
1 hour. Thanks. Appreciate it. So check in whenever. It's on you guys. Give us the time.
Yeah, look, I mean, people will have to make the decision if this is what they want to listen to. I suspect that they will. I suspect we're going to win the people over just like we did in Lincoln. Yep. We came in more on a heater on that one. We had a couple year warm up to get to that place.
People still talk about the recruiting hour.
How's it felt for you? You have it's a little bit of a different dynamic here. It's 6 a.m.
I love it.
That's good. Would you like to do it again tomorrow?
One show in, I can confidently say this is great.
Okay.
I am very excited about this. Obviously, the show is not at its full form yet. There are many bits to be had and many things to talk about. But I love my impending lunch.
Is this your
awesome.
I have an opinion? You have an opinion that this show will continue?
I have an opinion this show will continue. And I have an opinion. I think we're keeping I have an opinion. I don't think that one's going to make it to divorce court. That's my IP.
I don't really think there's a divorce court. I don't know what claims would
Matt wanted to do a divorce court. We talked over the weekend. He was like, I want to do a divorce court.
Okay.
And we can split bits and drops and things like that. Like we have a whole page worth of drops here that are, I don't know who they're going to belong to.
Okay.
I don't know who they're going to belong.
There's a whole computer over here
there
that I've never had to think about once, but there will be a day I have to consider the computer.
I cannot wait for you to think about the computer.
I don't want to think about the computer.
Do you want to think about the computer?
No.
Why not?
Why do I have to care about the computer? Just like the tiny pig. I didn't want to think about the tiny pig.
Wouldn't you want wouldn't you want to just randomly, have a noise that gets made like that during the show? Like you could do that. You have the ability.
No, I
You
don't.
can make that happen.
It seems like it's distracting.
It is kind of. So you don't like drops? Do you even like radio?
I'm not the biggest drops person.
Wow.
Like there would be times when I would be on as a guest, and more when Shane was the producer,
and
you would be in the middle of making a point, and all of a sudden, like Bo Pelini's talking about something that may or may not have been remotely related to anything that you were just saying.
That the drops do have to make a little bit of sense in the context.
Yeah, I think if there's the context of it could be great when you're in the middle of a sentence and it's like, that guy hasn't been the coach for 6 years. Maybe not the context we're looking for.
Mark writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, I like the show. I liked you too in Lincoln, and I like it now. Good luck. Thank you, Mark. That is by far the nicest thing we've heard today.
The good luck part?
the good luck part. And I like, you know, that we haven't heard a lot of I like today, but we will get there. We will wear you down. There's no doubt about that. Let's see here. A couple more tweets before we get out of here. Do those people, VJ writes in at Happer and Schaefer, do those people know about my ability to land an aircraft or his meat slicer? Both are endearing for sure. I don't think they do.
Look,
I think they're about to find
there's going
out.
to be a whole segment of morning listeners that are going to discover your irrational confidence, your belief that you can propel yourself to anything and everything. You were very confident.
I believe in my belief.
You know, early on when in our co-hosting time in Lincoln, you were very confident that you had a cold coming on, that you could just defeat the cold by telling the cold that you were going to win.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of gave up on that one.
I wondered how long that could last.
I stopped thinking that I could beat sickness.
Yeah, I think the exact phrasing was, you know how I don't get sick?
I just don't get sick.
I tell it I won't get sick.
Well, okay. So hold on. There is at least a little bit of truth to that. There is at least
you would go on to explain that a lot of it has to do with how you mentally process it.
Yeah.
And if you allow yourself to feel like you're down, you're going to be worse than you are. That I accept.
I don't want to give in.
More than just like, there is the thing with you where it's like, I tell X, you know, or I do X.
Yeah.
The irrational confidence, what makes you you. I love it.
That's what we're going to keep doing.
I mean, I wouldn't want you trying to land the plane ever.
No, I wouldn't want to be in that situation, for the record, where I would have to.
But if I had to, I could do it with.
I might be the best option given the options that are already on the plane. That's all.
They want one of those graphics that is just like a picture of you and it says, I might be the best option.
I might be the best option given what the options are. I don't know what.
Look, if it's between us, yeah, I would accept. You have the better chance of landing the plane.
All right. That will do it for us today. Maybe one day we'll have poll questions and a variety of different other things. But
are we doing poll questions?
I don't know. We're just building it as we go.
We can do it.
Joey says we can do it. Now call into Joey and say, Basaccia, everybody. All right. That'll do it for us today. We appreciate you guys listening. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Show number 1 in the books. The crossover.
We're back tomorrow.
We are back tomorrow, 6:00. The crossover is next.